Change does not begin with a perfect moment. It begins with a decision. Right now, in this very moment, you can choose a better way to think, act, and live. This audiobook is for the person who is ready to stop drifting and start building a life with more discipline, more peace, and more purpose. It is for the person who feels tired of old habits, tired of excuses, and tired of staying the same. Inside these chapters, you will find simple truths that can change how you start your morning, how you handle pressure, how you deal with mistakes, and how you move forward when progress feels slow. You will hear practical guidance that can be used today, not someday. Some of it may feel uncomfortable at first, because real growth often does. But that discomfort is often the first sign that something inside you is waking up. Take a moment and listen closely. This is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more honest, more steady, and more capable than you were yesterday. By the end, you will have a clearer picture of what change really looks like and how to keep moving forward one day at a time. Chapter 1: Accept responsibility today and take full control of life. Most people spend years waiting for life to become easier before they take themselves seriously. They wait for the perfect job, the perfect mood, the perfect moment, the perfect support from others, and the perfect excuse to stop waiting. But life does not improve because the world suddenly becomes fair. Life improves when a person decides to stop living as a victim of every event and starts living as the owner of their choices. That moment is powerful because it changes everything. It is the moment when excuses begin to lose their grip. It is the moment when blame stops feeling useful. It is the moment when a person looks at their own life and says, with honesty and courage, "This is my life and I am responsible for what happens next." Taking responsibility is not about blaming yourself for every pain you have ever felt. It is not about pretending that life is always fair or that other people never hurt you. Life can be unfair. People can be careless. Circumstances can be painful. Some things happen that should never happen. But after the pain comes the choice. After the disappointment comes the response. After the loss comes the next step. Responsibility begins there. It begins when you stop asking who ruined your life and start asking what you are going to do now. This is where real strength begins. Weak thinking says, "I cannot move until someone changes." Strong thinking says, "I may not control everything, but I control my response." Weak thinking waits for rescue. Strong thinking builds direction. Weak thinking keeps pointing outward. Strong thinking turns inward and says, "What can I improve? What can I change? What must I stop? What must I begin?" That shift is not just useful, it is life-changing. A person who accepts responsibility stops wasting energy on complaints that never solve anything. They stop rehearsing old stories that keep them trapped in the same emotional room. They stop using the past as proof that the future must be the same. They begin to see that their life is made of daily choices. The words they speak matter. The habits they repeat matter. The thoughts they entertain matter. The people they allow close matter. The way they spend their time matters. The standards they accept matter. A new life is not built by chance. It is built by decision after decision. There is a quiet dignity in this kind of honesty. It does not need to shout. It does not need attention. It does not need applause. It simply stands up inside a person and says, "From this point forward, I will not waste my power." That is the beginning of control. Not control over every event. Not control over other people. Control over your own mind, your own habits, your own direction, and your own effort. Many people live as if their moods are their masters. They wake up tired and believe the whole day is ruined. They make one mistake and believe the whole week is broken. They hear one cruel comment and decide it defines them. They fall behind and immediately think they are not capable. But the mind is stronger than that when it is trained. The body can be tired and still move. The heart can be disappointed and still stay loyal to the future. The mind can be under pressure and still choose discipline. Responsibility means learning not to hand your life over to every passing feeling. A responsible person does not wait to feel ready. They understand that readiness is often born through action, not before it. They understand that confidence often comes after repeated effort, not before it. They understand that clarity often comes while moving, not while waiting. Too many people ask for certainty before they act. Life rarely offers certainty first. It offers a challenge, then a choice, then a lesson. If you wait for perfect clarity, you may wait forever. But if you move with honesty and courage, you learn what kind of person you are becoming. There is also great freedom in responsibility, even though at first it can feel heavy. When a person blames others, they give away their power. They place their future in someone else's hands. They say, in effect, my life depends on what you do. That is a painful way to live because people are unpredictable. But when a person accepts responsibility, they reclaim themselves. They say, my life depends on what I do next. That sentence can feel difficult at first, but it is honest. And honesty is where freedom begins. Think about how often people explain their life through excuses. They say they do not have enough time, but they spend hours scrolling. They say they want to change, but they keep repeating the same habits. They say they want peace, but they keep feeding their mind with drama. They say they want success, but they avoid the work that success requires. They say they want health, but they keep choosing what damages them. They say they want respect, but they refuse to respect their own promises. The truth is uncomfortable, but it is also useful. Life changes when excuses lose their authority. Responsibility means seeing yourself clearly. It means looking at your life without hiding from the parts that need repair. It means asking hard questions. Am I doing what I said I would do? Am I becoming stronger or more dependent on comfort? Am I growing or just surviving? Am I living with purpose or just reacting to the day? Am I making choices that support my future or weaken it? These questions are not meant to shame you. They are meant to wake you up. A life can only improve when someone has the courage to see it clearly. That clarity may feel uncomfortable in the beginning because it removes the shelter of excuses. But discomfort is not always a bad sign. Sometimes discomfort is the first sign of growth. A muscle grows under resistance. A mind grows under challenge. A character grows under pressure. When you feel the sting of truth, do not run from it. Sit with it. Learn from it. Let it sharpen you. The person who can face the truth without collapsing becomes hard to defeat. Responsibility also means understanding that your habits are writing your future every single day. No one wakes up one morning and suddenly becomes disciplined, wise, calm, and successful by accident. Those qualities are built through repeated choices. The way you begin your morning matters. The way you speak to yourself matters. The way you react when disappointed matters. The way you handle temptation matters. The way you return to your goals after falling behind matters. Great lives are not built by great intentions alone. They are built by consistent follow-through. So start with what is in front of you. Clean your room. Make your bed. Open the window. Drink water. Sit down and write the truth about your current life. Where are you strong? Where are you weak? What are you avoiding? What is stealing your peace? What habits are helping you and what habits are hurting you? This is not busy work. This is self-respect. A person who can organize a small corner of life can begin to organize the larger one. Order in the environment often supports order in the mind. Then look at your time. Time is one of the clearest signs of responsibility because where your time goes, your life goes. If your time disappears into distractions, your life will feel scattered. If your time is used with purpose, your life begins to move in a better direction. You do not need to control every minute, but you do need to stop wasting the hours that could build your future. Protect your mornings. Protect your focus. Protect the moments when you are able to think clearly. A few intentional hours can change the shape of a week. A few intentional weeks can change the shape of a year. A few intentional years can change the shape of a life. It also helps to accept that responsibility does not mean perfection. That mistake traps many people. They think taking charge means never failing again. It does not. It means when you fail, you do not surrender your future to shame. You study what happened, correct your direction, and continue. A responsible person does not pretend to be flawless. They become reliable. They learn to recover quickly. They learn to tell the truth about what went wrong. They learn not to dramatize every setback into a permanent identity. When you make a mistake, avoid the two most common traps. The first trap is denial. Denial says the problem is small, someone else caused it, and nothing needs to change. That path keeps the same problem alive. The second trap is self-destruction. Self-destruction says the mistake proves you are broken and incapable. That path turns one error into a prison. Responsibility chooses a third path. It says, "This happened. I understand my part. I will learn from it. I will adjust." That is maturity. That is strength. That is how a person improves without losing hope. There is another important part of responsibility that many people ignore. It is the responsibility to guard your mind. Not every thought that enters your mind deserves your loyalty. Not every fear deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your belief. Not every memory deserves your surrender. A responsible person learns to watch their inner world carefully. They notice when thoughts become harmful. They notice when self-talk becomes cruel. They notice when their mind starts telling them old lies. Then they answer back with truth. The truth may sound like this: I am not behind because I am worthless. I am behind because I have not been consistent. That means I can improve. I am not stuck forever. I am not too late. I am not powerless. I have room to change. I have room to grow. I have room to begin again. This kind of self-talk is not fake positivity. It is disciplined truth. It does not deny pain, but it refuses to worship pain. Responsibility also changes relationships. When a person stops blaming others for every emotion, relationships become clearer. You stop expecting everyone to rescue you from your own disorganization. You stop making people pay for wounds they did not create. You stop demanding that others give you stability that you must build for yourself. That shift creates peace. It makes love cleaner. It makes friendship healthier. It makes conflict more honest. It helps you speak from maturity instead of insecurity. There is a quiet power in being able to say, "I own my part." Those words can save relationships. They can repair trust. They can reduce conflict. They can help you grow faster than pride ever will. Pride defends the ego. Responsibility builds the character. Pride says, "I am always right." Responsibility says, "I want to be better." The second one leads to growth every time. Now think about your goals. Most people do not fail because their goals are too big. They fail because they refuse to take ownership of the small steps required. They wait for motivation, then blame the lack of it. But motivation is unreliable. Responsibility is steadier. It says, "Even if I do not feel inspired today, I will still do the work." That is how progress becomes real. You do not need to transform your whole life in one day. You need to stop abandoning yourself every day. This can begin with one promise. Choose one habit you will keep without negotiation. Read for 10 minutes. Walk for 15 minutes. Wake up at the same time. Turn off your phone for the first hour of the day. Write your tasks before checking messages. Eat with more awareness. Speak more carefully. Go to bed earlier. Keep your room clean. Finish what you start. Choose one. Keep it. Then add another. The life you want is not built by dramatic bursts. It is built by kept promises. Responsibility also asks you to become honest about what drains you. Some habits feel harmless because they are common, but they quietly weaken your life. Endless entertainment can steal your focus. Constant complaining can damage your spirit. Comparing yourself to others can poison your gratitude. Avoiding difficult tasks can create guilt that follows you all day. Small lies can erode self-trust. Every time you break your own word, confidence weakens. Every time you keep your word, confidence grows. This is why self-respect is built in private. It is built in the moments when no one is watching and you still choose what is right. If you want to become a new version of yourself, stop asking what life owes you and start asking what life requires from you. Life requires attention. It requires patience. It requires courage. It requires effort when you are tired. It requires truth when denial would feel easier. It requires a steady hand when emotions are loud. It requires you to become a person who can be trusted by yourself. When you can trust yourself, everything becomes more stable. Your decisions improve. Your confidence improves. Your direction improves. Your peace improves. One of the most painful things in life is being out of alignment with your own values. A person may say they value health but live carelessly. They may say they value family but stay distracted and unavailable. They may say they value honesty but tell little lies every day. They may say they value growth but keep avoiding hard work. This mismatch creates inner conflict. Responsibility resolves that conflict by bringing words and actions closer together. It asks not just what you believe, but how you live. To move closer to alignment, look at the areas where your actions do not match your values. Be direct. There is no need for drama, just be honest. If you value peace but stay in constant noise, simplify your day. If you value strength but avoid discomfort, begin training your discipline. If you value learning but never make space to think, protect time for reading or reflection. If you value success but keep delaying action, begin now with one task. The future responds to repeated behavior, not wishful thinking. There will be days when this feels difficult. That is normal. Responsibility is not always emotionally comfortable. It is often simpler to blame, hide, delay, or distract. But the easy path often leads to the same life. The honest path leads to a stronger one. The honest path teaches you how to stand when life pushes. It teaches you how to breathe when emotions rise. It teaches you how to keep moving when the mind complains. It teaches you that you are more durable than your fears suggest. And once you begin to live this way, something important happens. You stop needing life to be perfect before you feel powerful. You stop waiting for external approval to believe in yourself. You begin to understand that power grows from ownership. Ownership of time, ownership of thoughts, ownership of effort, ownership of mistakes, ownership of recovery, ownership of direction. That is the foundation of a new life. So today, choose responsibility in a real way, not as an idea, not as a slogan, as a decision. If you have been blaming, stop. If you have been waiting, begin. If you have been doubting your ability to change, speak truth over your life and move anyway. Take control of one habit. Take control of one thought. Take control of one task you have delayed. Take control of your next hour, then the next, then the next. That is how a life changes, not all at once, not by magic, but by a person who finally says, I am here, I am awake, I am accountable. I will build my life with my own hands. You do not need permission to improve. You do not need perfect conditions to begin. You do not need to become someone else first. You need to stand where you are and take the next honest step. That step may seem small, but small steps repeated with discipline create enormous change over time. The person you become will be shaped by what you decide today. So decide well, decide clearly, decide with courage, decide to stop drifting, decide to stop blaming, decide to stop postponing your own life. Decide to take your place as the author of your future. There is no greater relief than this kind of honesty. There is no deeper confidence than this kind of self-trust. There is no more stable foundation for growth than responsibility. When you accept it, you stop living as a passenger in your own life. You become the driver. You become the builder. You become the one who chooses the direction, the pace, and the standards. And once that happens, a new life is no longer a dream standing far away. It becomes a daily practice, one choice at a time, one steady action at a time, one responsible moment at a time. Chapter 2. Hey, start each morning with purpose and clear intention. Morning is not just the first part of the day. It is the part that quietly shapes everything that follows. The way you wake up often decides the way you think. The way you think influences the choices you make. The choices you make shape the kind of life you build. That is why a morning without purpose can feel heavy before it even begins, while a morning with clear intention can give strength to the entire day. A person does not need a perfect life to begin well. A person needs a clear mind, a steady heart, and a simple decision to move with direction. Many people open their eyes and immediately give their attention away. They reach for the phone. They let outside voices enter before their own thoughts have settled. They react before they reflect. They rush before they understand what kind of day they are stepping into. That habit may seem small, but it has a cost. A scattered morning often creates a scattered mind. A scattered mind struggles to focus, struggles to stay calm, and struggles to make wise choices. When the first moments of the day belong to distraction, the rest of the day often follows the same pattern. Purpose changes that. Purpose gives the morning a spine. It turns waking up into more than a routine. It becomes a statement. It says, I am not here to drift. I am here to build. Clear intention does not mean having every hour planned with perfection. It means knowing what matters most before the noise begins. It means deciding what kind of person you want to be today before the world starts pulling you in different directions. It means waking up with a sense of direction instead of confusion. A morning with purpose begins before the day gets loud. It begins with stillness. Even a few quiet minutes can make a difference. Sit up slowly. Breathe deeply. Notice that you are alive, that you have another chance, another day, another opportunity to act with wisdom. There is strength in that simple awareness. It reminds you that the day is not something that happens to you. It is something you can enter with intention. This is where the mind starts to gain control instead of losing it. The first battle of the morning is often invisible. It is the battle between reaction and intention. Reaction says, follow the first impulse. Intention says, choose your direction first. Reaction opens the door to whatever comes. Intention decides what should be allowed in. This is why the earliest moments matter so much. They set the tone for your attention, your emotions, and your discipline. A person who begins with intention is less likely to be pulled apart by the day. A strong morning starts with a simple question: what matters today? Not what matters forever, not everything at once. Just today. That question is powerful because it brings life back to the present. It helps you stop living in a blur of unfinished thoughts and vague pressure. It helps you identify the few things that truly deserve your energy. Maybe today matters because you need to finish work that has been delayed. Maybe it matters because you need to have a difficult but honest conversation. Maybe it matters because you need to protect your peace and avoid unnecessary conflict. Maybe it matters because you need to take care of your health, your family, or your mind. Purpose gives shape to the day by helping you see what deserves your effort. When you know what matters, write it down if you can. A mind that carries everything often carries nothing clearly. Writing creates focus. It makes intention visible. You do not need a long list. You need a clear one. 1 or 2 important goals can be more useful than 10 vague ones. The point is not to appear busy. The point is to act with meaning. A purposeful morning teaches you to respect your energy instead of wasting it on random movement. There is also value in choosing how you want to show up. Before the pressure starts, decide who you will be in the middle of it. Will you be patient or reactive? Will you be thoughtful or careless? Will you be disciplined or easily distracted? Will you speak with respect or with frustration? These choices matter because the day will test your character in small ways. Someone may be rude, plans may shift, work may feel harder than expected. Your mood may not be perfect. But when you begin with intention, you are less likely to become a slave to every changing condition. You become more deliberate. You become more stable. A peaceful and purposeful morning also helps you face the truth without fear. Some mornings are not bright and easy. Some begin with worry, fatigue, sadness, or pressure from the day ahead. That is part of life. Purpose does not require a cheerful mood. It requires a committed mind. You may wake up carrying stress, but you do not need to let stress make your decisions. You may feel tired, but you can still choose order. You may feel uncertain, but you can still take one meaningful step. That is what resilience looks like. It is not pretending everything is fine. It is refusing to let discomfort control your direction. One of the strongest habits a person can build is to begin the day without rushing. Rushing weakens thought. It creates mistakes, tension, and mental noise. When you rush early, the whole day may feel like a chase. But when you begin with calm awareness, you create space to think clearly. Even a short pause can prevent many problems. Drink water slowly. Wash your face with attention. Make your bed with care. Choose your clothes with intention. Sit still for a moment before stepping into the demands of the day. These simple acts may appear small, but they tell your mind that you are leading instead of being dragged. Purpose also gives power to your priorities. If the morning begins without intention, lesser things often consume the best part of your energy. Messages, alerts, interruptions, and random thoughts can take over before you touch what truly matters. That is why the first hour is so valuable. It can protect your attention before the world takes pieces of it. If you spend the first part of the day on what is important, you are more likely to stay aligned with your goals. If you give that time away carelessly, you may spend the rest of the day trying to recover it. A meaningful morning also creates self-respect. Every time you wake with intention and follow through, you strengthen trust in yourself. You begin to believe your own promises. You stop relying on mood to do the work. You stop waiting for the perfect feeling before taking action. This builds confidence in a quiet and lasting way. Confidence is not only created by success, it is created by consistency. It grows when you prove to yourself that you can begin well and continue well. Do not underestimate the value of a few minutes spent in reflection. Ask yourself what kind of day you want to remember tonight. Ask yourself what will matter when the day is over. Ask yourself what version of yourself you want to practice today. These questions are useful because they turn the day into a deliberate practice instead of an accident. They remind you that your life is not only made by major events, it is made by repeated attitudes. A thoughtful morning helps you shape those attitudes before they shape you. It is also wise to begin with gratitude. Gratitude does not deny hardship. It simply refuses to forget what is still good. You may have problems, but you also have breath. You may have pressure, but you also have another chance. You may have unfinished goals, but you also have time left to work on them. Gratitude clears the mind from bitterness and makes room for strength. It helps you begin with enough honesty to see reality and enough hope to meet it with courage. The morning is a chance to declare your standards before the world tests them. You can decide that today will not be wasted. You can decide that today you will think before speaking. You can decide that today you will return to the task when distraction appears. You can decide that today you will not feed weakness with excuses. These decisions may sound simple, but they are the roots of a better life. A strong life is built by repeated choices made early and made well. If you struggle with mornings, start smaller rather than waiting for a perfect transformation. Wake up at the same time. Keep your phone away for the first few minutes. Open the curtains. Stretch your body. Drink water. Sit in silence. Read a few pages. Write one clear goal. These actions are not glamorous, but they are real. They tell your body and mind that you are serious. A new life often begins with ordinary discipline repeated with care. There will be days when you do this well and days when you fall short. Do not turn one weak morning into a reason to give up. Return to the practice. Begin again. That is part of maturity. A person building a better life does not need to be perfect every day. They need to be committed enough to return. The value is not in never slipping. The value is in refusing to stay down. When your mornings have purpose, your days become less random. You stop feeling like life is something rushing past you. You begin to feel more present, more aware, more responsible, more capable. You begin to understand that a good day is not a matter of luck. It is often the result of clear intention carried into action. This is how control grows. This is how peace grows. This is how a person learns to live with more strength and less confusion. So tomorrow, when the day begins, do not give your mind away too quickly. Begin with stillness. Begin with thought. Begin with purpose. Decide what matters. Choose how you will respond. Move with intention. Let the morning belong to you before you belong to the noise. That one choice can change the quality of the entire day. And the days that are built with purpose eventually become a life that feels steadier, wiser, and far more under your control. Chapter 30. Replace excuses with disciplined daily action. Excuses often appear quiet and reasonable, but they slowly weaken a person's life. They rarely arrive as obvious lies. Most excuses sound logical in the moment. They appear as explanations that make delay feel acceptable and inaction feel justified. A person may say the timing is wrong, the conditions are not good enough, the mood is not strong enough, or the situation is too difficult. Each reason may contain a small amount of truth, yet the effect remains the same. The work stays undone. The change never begins. Days pass while the mind continues searching for a better moment that never truly arrives. Disciplined action is the opposite of that pattern. Discipline does not ask whether the moment feels perfect. Discipline asks whether the task is necessary. If the task is necessary, it begins. This approach removes a great deal of confusion from life. Instead of negotiating with every passing feeling, a disciplined person learns to act according to clear standards. The question becomes simple. Does this action support the life I want to build, or does it delay it? Once the answer is clear, the next step becomes obvious. Excuses often grow stronger when the mind is allowed too much space to argue with itself. When a task appears difficult, the mind quickly produces reasons to postpone it. It may say the work will take too long, the result may not be perfect, or the effort might fail. None of these thoughts solve the problem. They only create hesitation. A disciplined approach interrupts this process early. Instead of debating endlessly, the person begins with a small step. That first step breaks the pattern of delay and places the mind back into motion. Action has a unique power. When a person begins working even in a modest way, the resistance inside the mind often weakens. The task that looked overwhelming from a distance becomes clearer once the hands begin moving. The first paragraph written, the first page read, the first exercise completed, or the first call made changes the emotional atmosphere. Movement replaces doubt. Progress replaces imagination. The mind begins to realize that effort creates results, while hesitation creates nothing. A life filled with excuses often feels frustrating because the person knows what should be done but repeatedly avoids it. This creates a quiet form of inner conflict. The mind understands the goal, yet behavior does not follow that understanding. Over time, this conflict damages self-trust. A person begins to doubt their own promises because they have watched themselves delay too many times. Discipline repairs that damage. Each completed task becomes evidence that personal promises still matter. Many people misunderstand discipline. They imagine it as something harsh and exhausting, something that requires constant force and pressure. In reality, discipline becomes easier when it is connected to simple daily structure. A person does not need to rely on sudden bursts of motivation. They rely on routine. When a certain time arrives, the work begins. When the work begins, progress slowly accumulates. This method removes the emotional struggle that often accompanies decision-making. Consider the difference between someone who waits for motivation and someone who follows structure. The first person constantly asks whether they feel ready. Some days they may feel energetic and accomplish a great deal. Other days they may feel distracted and do almost nothing. The result becomes unpredictable. The second person follows a schedule regardless of temporary emotion. Their effort may not always feel exciting, but it remains steady. Over weeks and months, the steady pattern produces far greater results. Disciplined action also teaches patience. Large achievements rarely appear overnight. A healthier body, a stronger mind, deeper knowledge, financial stability, and meaningful skill all require time. Excuses focus attention on the discomfort of beginning. Discipline focuses attention on the value of continuing. The person learns to appreciate gradual improvement rather than immediate reward. Each small victory becomes part of a larger process that unfolds over time. It is useful to observe how excuses often hide inside common phrases. A person may say they will start tomorrow. Tomorrow sounds harmless, yet tomorrow frequently becomes another tomorrow. A person may say they will begin when life becomes less busy. Life rarely becomes less busy on its own. A person may say they are waiting for the right opportunity. Opportunities often appear after effort begins rather than before. These patterns show how easily the mind can delay progress while pretending to remain responsible. Breaking this cycle requires honesty. A person must look directly at their habits and ask whether those habits truly serve their goals. If the answer is no, then change must begin with behavior rather than explanation. Words alone do not reshape a life. Repeated actions do. When the mind understands this truth, excuses gradually lose their authority. One effective approach is to simplify the beginning of each task. Instead of thinking about the entire project, focus only on the next clear step. If writing feels overwhelming, begin with a single page. If exercise feels difficult, begin with 10 minutes of movement. If learning a new subject feels confusing, begin by reading a few paragraphs and taking simple notes. The goal is not to finish everything immediately. The goal is to remove the barrier that prevents starting. Another powerful method is to create visible reminders of commitment. A written list of priorities placed in a visible location can help guide daily choices. Each completed item reinforces a sense of progress. Over time, this practice builds momentum. Momentum becomes one of the strongest allies of discipline because the mind begins to expect movement rather than delay. Discipline also grows when a person limits unnecessary distractions. Modern life offers endless opportunities to escape from effort. Screens, notifications, and entertainment can easily consume hours without providing meaningful improvement. These tools are not harmful on their own, yet without clear boundaries they become powerful sources of delay. A disciplined individual recognizes this risk and protects periods of focused attention. During those periods, the task receives full energy until meaningful progress occurs. Another important aspect of disciplined action is emotional neutrality. A person cannot expect every task to feel enjoyable. Many valuable activities require effort that may initially feel uncomfortable. Studying difficult material, exercising when the body feels tired, organizing responsibilities, or practicing new skills all demand persistence. Discipline teaches the mind to continue working even when enthusiasm is limited. This ability separates temporary motivation from lasting commitment. Over time, disciplined behavior changes personal identity. At first, the effort may feel forced. The person consciously reminds themselves to begin tasks and resist excuses. With repetition, the pattern becomes familiar. The individual begins to see themselves as someone who follows through. This shift in self-perception strengthens future decisions. A person who believes they are reliable becomes more likely to behave reliably. Real-world success often belongs to those who master ordinary effort. They do not rely on rare moments of brilliance. They simply perform necessary work repeatedly with care and patience. Each day adds another layer of experience and improvement. Small actions accumulate quietly until the difference becomes undeniable. Discipline also creates emotional stability. When responsibilities are handled consistently, the mind experiences less chaos. Important tasks do not remain hanging over the day like unfinished obligations. Instead, they are addressed in an organized manner. This reduces anxiety and allows the person to focus on meaningful goals rather than constant worry. Another benefit of disciplined action is resilience during difficult periods. Life inevitably presents obstacles. Illness, disappointment, financial pressure, and unexpected change can interrupt even the most careful plans. A disciplined person has already practiced continuing despite discomfort. This habit allows them to adapt and recover more quickly than someone who depends solely on motivation. One useful daily practice involves reviewing progress each evening. A few quiet minutes spent reflecting on the day can reveal valuable lessons. Which actions moved life forward? Which distractions wasted valuable time? What adjustments could improve tomorrow? This reflection strengthens awareness and gradually sharpens judgment. Over time, a person becomes more skilled at recognizing behaviors that support growth. The transformation created by disciplined action does not happen suddenly. It emerges through consistent effort repeated across many ordinary days. The person may not notice dramatic change at first, yet weeks later they realize tasks that once felt impossible have become routine. Confidence grows naturally because it is supported by real experience. Replacing excuses with action also influences relationships. Others begin to recognize reliability and trustworthiness. When a person consistently follows through on commitments, their words gain weight. Colleagues respect their effort. Friends appreciate their dependability. Opportunities often appear because others know the individual will take responsibility seriously. A meaningful life rarely comes from waiting for ideal conditions. It grows from deliberate participation in daily responsibilities. Each action performed with discipline becomes a building block for the future. These blocks may appear small when viewed individually, yet together they create remarkable structure. Every person faces moments when the easier path invites delay. The mind suggests comfort while responsibility asks for effort. At that moment the decision becomes clear: either follow the familiar pattern of excuses or choose the stronger path of disciplined action. Each choice quietly shapes the direction of life. The person who repeatedly chooses action eventually discovers a powerful truth. Progress does not require perfect circumstances. It requires commitment to movement. The work may be slow at times, yet it continues. The obstacles may appear challenging, yet they become manageable through persistence. Each day provides another opportunity to practice this principle. When excuses disappear, time begins to work in your favor. Days become productive rather than wasted. Energy moves toward meaningful goals instead of endless delay. Confidence rises because results confirm that effort matters. This is how discipline transforms ordinary moments into the foundation of a stronger future. The process begins with a simple decision. Choose one responsibility and complete it today without negotiation. Allow that action to stand as proof that excuses no longer control your direction. Tomorrow repeat the process with the same seriousness. Over time the pattern strengthens until disciplined action becomes a natural part of daily life. A person who lives this way experiences a quiet but powerful freedom. They no longer depend on perfect mood or perfect timing. They depend on commitment. Through steady effort they build skill, stability and purpose. The path may demand patience, yet it leads toward lasting growth and genuine achievement. Chapter 40 builds strong habits that improve your life daily. Every life is quietly shaped by habits. A habit is simply a repeated action that becomes part of daily behavior. When a behavior repeats often enough, it stops feeling like a decision and starts feeling automatic. This is why habits hold so much power. They work in the background of life without demanding constant attention. A person may believe their future will change through one large decision, but in reality the future is built through small behaviors repeated again and again. Those small behaviors slowly shape health, thinking, discipline, confidence, and opportunity. Many people underestimate the role habits play in their lives. They focus only on big goals while ignoring the small actions that determine whether those goals are reached. A person may want stronger health, but continue repeating behaviors that weaken the body. A person may want success, but fill their days with distractions. A person may want peace, but continue habits that feed stress and conflict. Goals alone cannot change a life. Habits create the bridge between intention and reality. The encouraging truth is that habits can be changed and new ones can be built. A person is not trapped by past patterns forever. Every day offers another opportunity to practice a better behavior. When a helpful action repeats often enough, it slowly becomes easier. Eventually, the behavior requires less mental effort and begins to feel natural. That is the moment when improvement starts to sustain itself. Building strong habits begins with awareness. Before creating something better, a person must see clearly what already exists. Many daily behaviors happen without much thought. The first step is noticing them. Notice how the morning begins. Notice how time is spent during work hours. Notice how the mind reacts to stress. Notice how the body is treated throughout the day. This awareness is not meant to create guilt. It is meant to create clarity. Once behavior becomes visible, it becomes possible to guide it in a better direction. After observing current patterns, the next step is choosing one improvement that will be practiced daily. Trying to change too many behaviors at once often leads to frustration. The mind becomes overwhelmed and quickly returns to old habits. A more effective approach is to begin with a single clear action that supports growth. This could be reading for a short period each day, walking regularly, drinking more water, organizing a workspace, or practicing calm breathing when stress appears. The specific action matters less than the consistency behind it. Consistency turns simple actions into strong habits. Repeating the behavior at the same time each day helps the mind recognize a pattern. Over time, the brain begins to expect the action. This expectation reduces resistance because the behavior becomes part of the routine. A person no longer debates whether to perform the habit. The habit simply becomes the normal next step in the day. Patience plays an important role during this process. Many people abandon good habits too quickly because they expect immediate transformation. In reality, change happens gradually. The first few days may feel unfamiliar. The first few weeks may require strong attention. After continued practice, the behavior begins to settle into daily rhythm. With enough repetition, the habit becomes a reliable part of life. Strong habits also benefit from simple structure. A clear environment can support good behavior. For example, placing a book near the bed encourages reading before sleep. Keeping a notebook on a desk encourages reflection and planning. Preparing healthy food in advance encourages better nutrition. Small adjustments to surroundings can make positive behavior easier and negative behavior less convenient. Another helpful strategy involves connecting new habits with existing routines. When a new action follows something already familiar, it becomes easier to remember. For instance, stretching after waking up, reviewing priorities after breakfast, or walking after dinner. The mind naturally links the behaviors together. This connection strengthens the habit because it attaches improvement to daily rhythm rather than random effort. Habits also influence mental strength. When a person repeats constructive behavior, they prove to themselves that progress is possible. Each completed habit reinforces confidence and personal discipline. The mind begins to see evidence of reliability. This evidence becomes powerful motivation because it shows that change is not only an idea but a lived experience. On the other hand, weak habits slowly drain energy and focus. Excessive distraction, irregular sleep, careless eating, and constant negativity gradually reduce mental clarity. These behaviors may feel harmless in the moment, but their long-term effect becomes visible over time. A person who wants to build a better life must look honestly at these patterns and decide whether they deserve a place in the future. Replacing harmful habits with helpful ones does not require sudden perfection. It requires steady adjustment. When a negative pattern appears, pause and choose a better response. If unnecessary screen time steals valuable hours, replace part of that time with learning or planning. If stress creates tension, practice calm breathing instead of reacting immediately. Each small replacement gradually reshapes behavior. A powerful habit that improves life is reflection. Spending a few quiet minutes at the end of each day reviewing actions and decisions can reveal valuable lessons. Reflection strengthens awareness and encourages wiser choices tomorrow. A person might ask simple questions such as what went well today, what could be improved, and what deserves attention tomorrow. These questions guide the mind toward continuous improvement. Another beneficial habit is protecting physical health. The body supports every goal and responsibility in life. Without proper care, energy becomes limited and focus becomes weak. Regular movement, sufficient rest, and balanced nourishment create a foundation for productivity and emotional balance. These habits do not need to be extreme. Simple daily care can provide remarkable benefits when practiced consistently. Mental habits are equally important. The way a person speaks to themselves influences confidence and resilience. A mind filled with constant criticism becomes discouraged. A mind trained to remain honest yet supportive becomes stronger. Practicing calm and constructive thinking allows challenges to be approached with clarity instead of panic. Over time, this mental habit strengthens emotional stability. Strong habits also improve relationships. Simple behaviors such as listening carefully, speaking respectfully, and expressing appreciation can deepen trust between people. These actions may appear small, yet they shape the atmosphere of every interaction. A person who practices thoughtful communication daily builds stronger connections with family, friends, and colleagues. As habits accumulate, they begin to work together. A morning routine that supports focus leads to better productivity. Consistent exercise improves energy and mood. Regular reflection sharpens decision-making. Thoughtful communication strengthens relationships. Each habit supports another. Together they create a stable system that moves life forward. An important truth about habits is that they continue working even when attention shifts elsewhere. Once a behavior becomes automatic, it requires less effort to maintain. This allows the mind to focus on larger goals while daily structure quietly supports progress. In this way, habits become powerful allies in the pursuit of long-term success. Every person possesses the ability to design their habits. Life does not assign them permanently. Each day provides opportunities to reinforce helpful behaviors and weaken harmful ones. The process may feel slow at times, yet every repeated action contributes to change. Consider how different life can become after months of steady improvement. Reading regularly expands knowledge. Practicing calm thinking reduces stress. Maintaining organized spaces improves focus. Caring for the body increases energy. Speaking with patience strengthens relationships. These results do not appear from one dramatic effort, but from consistent daily practice. A person who understands this principle begins to treat each day with greater respect. Daily behavior is no longer random. It becomes part of a deliberate plan for growth. Small decisions receive attention because they shape the direction of the future. Progress through habits also builds resilience during difficult periods. When challenges appear, established routines provide stability. Healthy habits continue guiding action even when circumstances feel uncertain. This stability protects the mind from chaos and helps a person remain focused on constructive behavior. At times, the process may feel repetitive. Improvement often requires repeating the same beneficial action many times. Yet repetition is exactly what transforms effort into strength. Just as muscles grow through repeated movement, character grows through repeated discipline. It is also important to celebrate quiet progress. Not every improvement needs public recognition. Personal satisfaction from honoring commitments can be deeply motivating. A person who appreciates small victories develops a sense of pride in their daily conduct. Building strong habits is ultimately an act of respect toward the future. It means choosing behaviors today that support the person you aim to become tomorrow. Each healthy action sends a message to the mind that growth matters. Each repeated effort confirms that discipline is possible. Life may appear complex at times, yet progress often returns to a simple principle. Do the small things well and do them often. Drink water, move the body, read and learn, speak with care, reflect with honesty, protect time from unnecessary distraction. These habits seem ordinary, yet their combined effect is powerful. When daily behavior aligns with personal values, life begins to feel more stable and purposeful. Goals stop feeling distant because every day contains actions that support them. Confidence increases because promises are honored through behavior rather than intention alone. The path to a stronger life rarely requires dramatic transformation overnight. It requires steady improvement through habits that repeat day after day. These habits become the structure that supports growth, discipline, and clarity. Over time, they quietly transform the way a person thinks, acts, and lives. By choosing habits that strengthen the mind, body, and character, a person gradually builds a life that reflects purpose and self-respect. The process begins with one simple decision repeated consistently. Continue that decision tomorrow and the day after. With patience and commitment, those repeated actions will shape a future defined not by chance but by deliberate growth. Chapter 5. Focus your mind on progress, not on past mistakes. Progress begins the moment a person stops feeding the past more attention than the future. Many people carry old mistakes like a weight they never set down. They revisit them in quiet moments, repeat them in their thoughts, and use them as proof that change is difficult. But a mistake is not a permanent identity. It is a moment in time. It happened, it taught something, and it should not be allowed to govern every day that comes after it. A life cannot move forward when the mind keeps turning back to what has already been done. There is a difference between learning from the past and living inside it. Learning is useful. Living there is not. Learning helps a person grow wiser. Living there keeps a person stuck in shame, fear, and hesitation. A healthy mind studies what went wrong so it can improve. An unhealthy mind keeps punishing itself long after the lesson has already been received. The goal is not to erase memory. The goal is to stop using memory as a chain. Progress asks for a different kind of focus. It asks the mind to look at what is possible today instead of what was lost yesterday. It asks for patience, truth, and courage. A person who wants to improve must learn to measure life by direction, not by perfection. The question is not whether every step has been flawless. The question is whether the steps are moving in a better direction now. That shift in thinking can release a great deal of pain. Many people remain trapped because they think one mistake cancels their value. It does not. A bad decision can bring consequences, but it cannot erase the ability to recover. A difficult season can weaken confidence, but it does not remove the chance to rebuild. The mind often wants to turn one failure into a full story about who you are. That story is false. You are not your worst moment. You are not your most embarrassing choice. You are not the sum of every regret. You are a living person with the ability to correct course. To focus on progress, begin by being honest about where you are now. Denial keeps a person confused, and shame keeps a person silent. Honest reflection is stronger than both. Look clearly at the current situation. What needs repair? What needs attention? What habits are helping? What habits are harming? What can be changed today without waiting for a perfect mood? These are useful questions because they place attention on action. They move the mind from regret into responsibility. One of the strongest ways to leave the past behind is to set small goals that can be reached today. Progress does not need to arrive in a dramatic form. It often starts quietly. Clean one part of the room, finish one task, make one better choice, send one message that matters, read a few pages, walk for a little while, replace one negative thought with a more truthful one. Small progress may feel too modest to matter, but it teaches the mind that movement is still possible. Once the mind believes movement is possible, hope returns. There is also power in understanding that the past cannot be revised, but the present can still be used well. That truth is simple, yet many people ignore it. They spend energy wishing they had acted differently before, even though that energy could be used to build something better now. The present is the only place where change happens. A person who protects the present protects the future. Every hour carries that opportunity. Every decision can point life in a better direction. Sometimes the mind clings to old mistakes because it fears repeating them. This fear can be useful if it leads to caution, but harmful if it leads to paralysis. A wise person does not deny the lesson. They carry the lesson forward without carrying the shame. There is a difference between being careful and being frozen. Careful people think before they act. Frozen people never act because they are afraid of being wrong again. Growth requires enough courage to move even with memory in the room. Another helpful practice is to speak to yourself with accuracy instead of cruelty. Many people try to improve using harsh inner language, but cruelty does not produce durable change. It may create pressure, but pressure without direction often leads to more fear. Accurate self-talk is stronger. It says, I made a poor choice, but I can learn from it. It says, I fell short in that area, so I will strengthen it. It says, I am behind in some places, but I can start closing the gap now. This kind of speech keeps the mind honest without breaking it. Progress also becomes clearer when you track what is improving. People often obsess over what still needs work and forget what has already changed. That habit can make real growth invisible. Take a moment to notice what you handle better now than before. Maybe you recover faster after disappointment. Maybe you think more carefully before speaking. Maybe you waste less time. Maybe you are more disciplined than you were last month. Noticing improvement matters because it confirms that effort is working. A person who sees evidence of growth is more likely to keep going. It is useful to remember that progress is rarely a straight line. Some days feel strong. Other days feel slow. Sometimes a person acts wisely for a while and then falls into an old pattern. That does not erase all improvement. It simply means the path still requires attention. Growth often moves through correction. The important thing is to return quickly instead of turning one setback into a reason to quit. A person who comes back is already stronger than a person who stays down. The mind becomes healthier when it is trained to look forward on purpose. One way to do this is to begin each day by deciding what one improvement will matter most. The answer does not need to be grand. It might be finishing a task, staying calm in a hard conversation, staying away from a bad habit, or making time for learning. A clear focus gives the day shape. Without that shape, The mind often drifts back into regret because empty space invites old thoughts. Purpose leaves less room for wandering. It also helps to reduce the power of comparison. Comparing your current life to someone else's polished image can create frustration and distract from your real progress. You may not see every struggle in another person's life, and they may not see yours. What matters is whether you are moving in a better direction than before. A person who focuses on internal progress becomes less dependent on approval and less shaken by outside noise. That kind of steadiness is valuable. At times, old mistakes return in the mind unexpectedly. A memory can surface in the middle of an ordinary day and try to reopen a wound. When that happens, do not obey the memory. Notice it, breathe, and return attention to what is in front of you. You do not need to argue with every thought. Some thoughts are only echoes. They are not commands. You can acknowledge the past without giving it control over your present. Progress is built by what you do after the mistake, not by how loudly you judge yourself for it. A mature person does not waste life trying to appear flawless. They become dependable, steady, and willing to improve. They ask what needs to be learned, what needs to be repaired, and what needs to be done next. That mindset is practical. It keeps the person moving. It prevents emotional stagnation. There is also dignity in letting the past become a teacher instead of a prison. A teacher shows you what needs attention and then steps aside. A prison keeps you locked in the same place with no future in sight. Choose the teacher. Take the lesson. Leave the shame behind. Use the memory only as far as it helps you make wiser decisions now. Nothing more is required. The more a person practices forward focus, the more natural it becomes. At first, it may take effort to redirect the mind away from regret. Over time, that redirection grows easier. The mind learns a new habit. Instead of saying, "I failed before," it begins to ask, "What can I do better today?" That one question carries power. It turns attention toward possibility. It encourages discipline. It creates motion, and motion matters. A moving life is easier to guide than a stuck one. Even slow movement creates hope because it proves that change is still active. The goal is not to impress anyone. The goal is to build a life that becomes steadier, wiser, and more useful with time. That begins when the mind stops worshipping what went wrong and starts respecting what can still go right. So when old mistakes try to speak loudly, answer them with action. Return to your task. Return to your purpose. Return to your values. Return to the work that moves you forward. Every time you do, you weaken the grip of regret and strengthen the habit of growth. The past may explain part of your journey, but it does not decide the destination. Your focus does that. Your choices do that. Your daily progress does that. A better life is not built by a perfect record. It is built by a steady mind that keeps choosing the next right step. That is where strength lives. That is where peace grows. That is where a new future begins. Chapter 6c. Choose courage and act even when fear appears. Fear appears in every life. It arrives when a person prepares to step beyond what is familiar. It appears before an important decision, before a difficult conversation, before a new responsibility, or before an uncertain opportunity. Many people believe courage means living without fear, but that belief is not accurate. Courage does not remove fear. Courage is the decision to move forward even while fear is present. It is the quiet strength that refuses to allow hesitation to control the direction of life. Fear often speaks loudly in the mind. It suggests that failure will be embarrassing, that mistakes will create judgment, or that discomfort will become unbearable. These thoughts can make a challenge appear larger than it truly is. The body may respond with tension and doubt. The mind may search for reasons to delay action. This reaction is natural. The mind tries to protect itself from possible harm. Yet protection can become limitation when fear is allowed to decide every choice. A person who wants to grow must learn to recognize fear without surrendering to it. Fear is a signal, not a command. It informs the mind that something important is happening, but it does not deserve the authority to stop progress. When courage enters the moment, fear loses its control. Courage does not shout or create dramatic gestures. It simply chooses the next step despite discomfort. Many meaningful achievements require courage at beginning. Starting a new career path requires courage because the outcome is uncertain. Speaking honestly in a difficult situation requires courage because the response cannot be predicted. Changing unhealthy habits requires courage because the mind must leave familiar patterns behind. In each of these moments, fear will appear, but growth waits on the other side of the decision. One helpful way to face fear is to examine it calmly. Ask what exactly feels threatening about the situation. Sometimes the mind exaggerates danger without evidence. The imagined consequences appear larger than reality. By slowing down and observing the fear directly, a person can separate reasonable caution from unnecessary worry. This clarity weakens the emotional intensity that often blocks action. Another powerful approach is to reduce the challenge into smaller steps. A large goal may feel overwhelming when viewed all at once. Breaking it into manageable actions makes courage easier to practice. Instead of focusing on the entire journey, focus on the next step that can be taken today. That step might involve gathering information, practicing a skill, or initiating a conversation. Each small action builds confidence because it proves that movement is possible. Courage grows stronger through repetition. The first time a person faces fear may feel extremely uncomfortable. The mind may resist strongly because the situation feels unfamiliar. Yet, once the action is taken and the experience is completed, the next attempt becomes easier. The mind learns that fear did not cause destruction. Instead, it becomes evidence that strength exists within the person. It is also useful to understand that fear often guards areas of life that contain opportunity. A person may feel nervous before learning a new skill because the mind recognizes that change is happening. A person may feel anxious before expressing their ideas because the outcome matters. In these moments, fear is not necessarily an enemy. It simply indicates that the situation carries importance. Courage allows the person to enter that importance rather than avoiding it. Another important lesson is that waiting for fear to disappear rarely works. Fear tends to shrink only after action begins. When a person delays indefinitely, the mind continues imagining negative outcomes. This imagination strengthens hesitation. When a person moves forward despite uncertainty, reality replaces imagination. The real experience often proves far less frightening than the mind predicted. Courage also requires honesty with oneself. Avoiding responsibility often hides behind fear. A person may claim they are waiting for the perfect moment, but in truth they are avoiding discomfort. Recognizing this pattern allows a person to make a different choice. They can acknowledge the fear while still committing to progress. A useful practice is to remind yourself why the action matters. Fear focuses attention on possible pain, but purpose focuses attention on meaningful results. When a person connects their action to a larger value, courage becomes easier. A difficult conversation may protect an important relationship. A challenging project may create new opportunities. A healthy change may strengthen long-term well-being. Remembering these reasons helps the mind move beyond immediate discomfort. Support from others can also strengthen courage. Honest advice from trusted individuals can provide perspective during uncertain moments. A supportive voice may remind you of your abilities when self-doubt grows strong. Yet even with support, the final decision remains personal. Courage ultimately comes from within. It is important to accept that mistakes may occur along the way. Fear often grows stronger when a person believes failure must be avoided at all costs. This belief creates pressure that prevents learning. A wiser approach views mistakes as part of development. Every skill improves through practice, and practice includes imperfect attempts. Courage accepts this reality and continues forward anyway. Many individuals discover that the moments they feared most eventually become their greatest sources of pride. Facing a difficult challenge often reveals strength that previously remained hidden. A person learns that their capacity for endurance, patience, and problem-solving is greater than they believed. This discovery creates a new level of confidence. Courage also strengthens personal integrity. When a person acts according to values rather than fear, they develop deeper respect for themselves. Each courageous action confirms that principles matter more than temporary comfort. Over time, this integrity becomes a powerful foundation for decision-making. It is helpful to remember that courage does not require dramatic situations. Daily life provides many opportunities to practice it in small ways. Speaking truthfully, attempting a difficult task, admitting a mistake, or standing by a commitment can all require courage. These moments may appear ordinary, yet they gradually build a strong character. Fear often fades when the mind becomes familiar with challenge. Repeated exposure teaches the brain that difficulty can be handled. Each successful effort builds resilience. Eventually, situations that once seemed intimidating begin to feel manageable. Another effective strategy is focusing attention on the process rather than the outcome. When the mind becomes obsessed with results, fear grows stronger because the result cannot be controlled completely. Focusing on the process keeps attention on what can be done now. Effort, preparation, and discipline remain within personal control. This mindset reduces anxiety and encourages steady action. The body also responds positively when courage is practiced. Completing difficult tasks releases a sense of accomplishment that strengthens emotional stability. Confidence increases not because everything becomes easy, but because the person learns they can handle challenges. Some days courage will feel strong and natural. Other days it may require more deliberate effort. Both experiences are normal. Strength develops through persistence rather than perfection. Continuing to act despite occasional doubt gradually creates lasting resilience. A courageous life does not mean living without caution. Wise caution protects health, relationships, and safety. The difference lies in whether caution becomes thoughtful preparation or complete avoidance. Courage works alongside caution by encouraging responsible action rather than paralysis. Over time, the practice of courage transforms a person's perspective. Challenges no longer appear only as threats. They begin to appear as opportunities to develop skill, wisdom, and confidence. This change in perception reduces the influence of fear. Every meaningful path includes moments where uncertainty stands in the way. The person who chooses courage during those moments creates movement where hesitation once existed. Progress becomes possible because action replaces doubt. A strong life is built through repeated decisions to move forward when the easier choice would be retreat. Each time courage is chosen, the mind becomes steadier. Each time fear is faced, the future opens a little wider. When fear appears again, remember that it is only part of the experience of growth. Take a breath, examine the situation clearly, and choose the next step that aligns with your values. Courage will not eliminate uncertainty, but it will guide you through it. In the end, a person's life is shaped not by how often fear appeared, but by how often courage answered it. The decision to act despite hesitation leads to discovery, strength, and progress. Each courageous step builds a path toward a future defined by effort, honesty, and resilience. Chapter 7. I learn valuable lessons from every failure you experience. Every person who attempts something meaningful will eventually face failure. It appears in many forms. Sometimes it arrives as a rejected idea, sometimes as a missed opportunity, and sometimes as a result that does not match the effort invested. At first, failure can feel heavy. It may create disappointment, frustration, or even embarrassment. Yet within every difficult outcome there is a hidden opportunity to gain understanding. The difference between those who grow and those who remain stuck often depends on how they respond to these moments. Failure becomes powerful when it is treated as a teacher rather than a permanent judgment. Many people mistakenly believe that a failed attempt defines their ability or their future. They assume that one mistake proves they are not capable of improvement. This belief closes the door to learning. In reality, a single result rarely tells the entire story. It only provides information about what did not work under certain conditions. A wise person studies that information carefully. Instead of focusing only on the emotional discomfort, they begin asking useful questions. What decisions led to this outcome? Which actions produced positive effects, and which ones created problems? What knowledge was missing at the time? These questions transform failure from a painful memory into a valuable source of insight. Learning from failure requires honesty. It can be tempting to blame circumstances, other people, or simple bad luck. While external factors do influence results, personal reflection provides far more growth. When someone takes responsibility for examining their own choices, they gain the power to adjust those choices in the future. This sense of ownership strengthens both character and wisdom. One important lesson that failure often reveals is the importance of preparation. Many setbacks occur not because a goal was impossible, but because the approach lacked sufficient planning. A person may discover that they rushed into a challenge without gathering enough information or developing the required skills. Recognizing this gap does not represent defeat. Instead, it highlights a clear direction for improvement. Another common lesson involves patience. Modern culture frequently promotes the idea that success should appear quickly. When results do not arrive immediately, frustration grows. Yet meaningful achievement usually requires consistent effort over time. Failure sometimes reminds a person that progress unfolds gradually. Each attempt contributes experience that strengthens future performance. Failure also exposes weaknesses that might otherwise remain hidden. These weaknesses may involve habits, discipline, communication, or emotional control. Although discovering them may feel uncomfortable, it provides an opportunity for personal development. When a weakness becomes visible, it can be addressed through practice and self-awareness. Resilience begins to grow when a person refuses to allow failure to end the journey. Instead of retreating completely, they choose to evaluate the situation calmly and continue moving forward with new knowledge. This decision builds mental strength. Each recovery from disappointment proves that setbacks do not determine the final outcome. Another valuable benefit of failure is humility. Success sometimes creates the illusion that progress will always continue smoothly. Failure interrupts that illusion and reminds a person that growth requires constant learning. Humility keeps the mind open to advice, new ideas, and constructive criticism. This openness becomes a powerful advantage over time. Many remarkable achievements throughout history were preceded by numerous unsuccessful attempts. Inventors, scientists, artists, and entrepreneurs often describe failure as an unavoidable part of discovery. Each attempt that did not produce the desired result revealed a method that needed adjustment. Gradually, those adjustments guided them closer to success. Emotional recovery is also an important part of learning from failure. Disappointment can cloud judgment if it remains unaddressed. Taking time to reflect calmly allows the mind to process the experience without becoming overwhelmed by frustration. Once emotions settle, clearer thinking becomes possible. This clarity helps identify the lessons hidden within the situation. A useful approach involves writing down the details of what happened. Recording the sequence of events can reveal patterns that might otherwise be overlooked. Perhaps a decision was rushed, or an assumption proved inaccurate. Observing these patterns provides practical guidance for future actions. Another powerful step is transforming the lesson into a new strategy. Knowledge alone does not create improvement unless it influences behavior. After identifying what went wrong, design a different plan that addresses those weaknesses. This might involve practicing new skills, seeking advice from experienced individuals, or adjusting expectations. Failure can also strengthen determination. When a person continues pursuing a meaningful goal despite setbacks, their commitment deepens. The experience proves that the goal matters enough to endure difficulty. This deeper commitment often fuels stronger effort and sharper focus during the next attempt. Perspective plays a major role in how failure affects a person. If a single setback is viewed as a permanent conclusion, motivation quickly disappears. If the same event is seen as temporary feedback, it becomes easier to continue working toward improvement. This shift in perspective transforms failure from an obstacle into a guide. Another important lesson involves adaptability. Circumstances rarely remain predictable. A plan that once seemed effective may become outdated when conditions change. Failure sometimes signals that flexibility is required. Adjusting methods, exploring alternative solutions, and remaining open to innovation allow progress to continue. Support from others can also help transform failure into growth. Honest feedback from mentors, colleagues, or friends can reveal insights that might be difficult to recognize alone. Their perspectives may highlight overlooked details or offer strategies based on their own experiences. Patience remains essential throughout this process. Learning meaningful lessons does not happen instantly. Understanding develops gradually as the mind reflects on the experience from different angles. Over time, the initial disappointment fades and the educational value becomes clearer. Another important realization is that failure often strengthens emotional endurance. Facing difficult outcomes teaches a person how to manage stress, maintain composure, and remain focused under pressure. These qualities become extremely valuable when confronting future challenges. Each failure also contributes to self-awareness. A person begins to understand their reactions, motivations, and decision-making patterns more clearly. This awareness allows more thoughtful choices moving forward. Growth becomes intentional rather than accidental. As lessons accumulate, confidence gradually returns. This confidence does not come from believing mistakes will never happen again. Instead, it comes from knowing that mistakes can be analyzed and corrected. A person learns that every setback carries information that can guide the next step. Eventually, the meaning of failure changes entirely. Instead of representing defeat, it becomes evidence that effort is being applied. It shows that a person is willing to attempt difficult things rather than remaining within safe limitations. This willingness itself becomes a form of progress. A meaningful life rarely follows a perfectly smooth path. Challenges, errors, and unexpected results are natural parts of any ambitious journey. When these experiences are approached with curiosity instead of fear, they reveal lessons that shape stronger character and deeper wisdom. The person who studies failure carefully gains an advantage that cannot be taught through theory alone. Real experience provides details that books and advice cannot fully capture. Each lesson becomes part of personal knowledge that guides future decisions. With time, what once felt like a painful setback can become a valuable turning point. The knowledge gained may inspire new strategies, better habits, and clearer priorities. Growth often begins exactly where disappointment once appeared. Every failure carries a message waiting to be understood. Those who listen closely discover guidance that improves their next attempt. Instead of closing the door to possibility, they use the experience as a stepping stone toward greater skill and maturity. Progress belongs to those who refuse to let failure silence their effort. By learning from every setback, a person gradually transforms challenges into sources of strength. Each lesson brings them closer to a wiser, more capable version of themselves. Chapter 80. Strengthen your mind through consistent positive thinking. The human mind quietly shapes the direction of life every single day. Thoughts influence emotions, decisions, habits, and ultimately the results a person experiences. Many people underestimate this inner influence, believing that circumstances alone determine outcomes. In reality, the way a person thinks about circumstances often matters just as much as the circumstances themselves. Strengthening the mind through consistent positive thinking does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending that life is always easy. It means training the mind to respond to situations with clarity, confidence, and constructive focus. Every thought creates a small mental pathway. When certain types of thoughts repeat frequently, those pathways become stronger. Over time, the mind begins to follow those patterns automatically. If negative thinking dominates daily life, the mind becomes accustomed to expecting problems, imagining failure, and focusing on limitations. This habit drains motivation and weakens resilience. However, when positive thinking is practiced consistently, the mind gradually develops a different set of expectations. It begins to search for solutions, recognize possibilities, and maintain hope during difficult moments. Positive thinking is not blind optimism. It is a deliberate mental discipline that chooses productive interpretations instead of destructive ones. For example, when an obstacle appears, the negative mind quickly concludes that the situation is unfair or impossible. A stronger mindset examines the same obstacle and asks what can be learned from it, what adjustments can be made, and what opportunity might exist within the challenge. This approach encourages progress instead of discouragement. One important step in strengthening the mind is becoming aware of internal dialogue. Every person has an ongoing conversation within their thoughts. Sometimes this conversation encourages effort and persistence. Other times it produces doubt and criticism. Paying attention to this inner voice reveals patterns that often operate unnoticed. When negative statements appear repeatedly, they can slowly undermine confidence. Recognizing these patterns allows a person to replace them with more constructive perspectives. Replacing negative thoughts does not require unrealistic statements. Instead, it involves choosing language that supports growth. For instance, saying, "I will never succeed," creates emotional resistance and discouragement. A more balanced statement such as, "I can improve with practice," keeps the mind open to effort and learning. These small changes in language influence how the brain processes challenges. Consistency plays a vital role in this mental training. Positive thinking strengthens gradually through repetition, much like a physical muscle grows stronger through regular exercise. Occasional moments of optimism are helpful, but true transformation occurs when constructive thoughts become part of daily routine. Each time the mind chooses a hopeful interpretation instead of a discouraging one, the mental pathway for resilience becomes stronger. Another useful practice is directing attention toward progress rather than perfection. Many people weaken their mindset by focusing only on what remains incomplete. They overlook the small improvements that occur along the way. Recognizing progress builds encouragement because it reminds the mind that effort produces results. This recognition fuels motivation for the next step forward. Gratitude also contributes significantly to positive thinking. When the mind regularly acknowledges what is working well in life, emotional balance improves. Gratitude does not ignore problems, but it prevents problems from becoming the only focus. Even during difficult periods, there are often aspects of life that deserve appreciation. Recognizing these elements creates stability within the mind. Environment strongly influences thinking patterns as well. The people, information, and conversations surrounding a person can either strengthen positivity or reinforce negativity. Spending time with individuals who encourage growth often leads to healthier perspectives. Similarly, consuming information that promotes learning and possibility can gradually reshape mental habits. Positive thinking also affects the way a person approaches responsibility. When the mind expects improvement, it becomes more willing to invest effort in meaningful tasks. Challenges begin to appear as opportunities for development rather than burdens to avoid. This shift in perception increases productivity and determination. Another important benefit involves emotional resilience. Life inevitably includes setbacks, misunderstandings, and unexpected difficulties. A mind trained in constructive thinking recovers from these events more quickly. Instead of remaining trapped in frustration, it searches for ways to move forward. This flexibility prevents temporary problems from becoming permanent obstacles. Visualization can also strengthen the mind when practiced thoughtfully. Imagining successful outcomes prepares the brain for achievement by reinforcing confidence and focus. Athletes, performers, and professionals often use visualization to mentally rehearse important actions before they occur. This preparation increases readiness and reduces anxiety. It is important to remember that positive thinking does not eliminate responsibility for action. Thoughts alone cannot produce meaningful results without effort. However, a strong mindset creates the emotional energy needed to maintain consistent action. It encourages persistence when progress feels slow and keeps motivation alive during uncertainty. Another valuable element of mental strength is self-compassion. Many individuals place excessive pressure on themselves when mistakes occur. Harsh self-criticism can weaken confidence and reduce willingness to try again. Positive thinking includes treating oneself with patience while continuing to pursue improvement. This balance maintains emotional health while supporting growth. Daily reflection can help maintain constructive thinking patterns. Taking a few moments each day to review experiences allows the mind to recognize lessons and achievements. This practice encourages learning from challenges without becoming overwhelmed by them. Over time, the influence of positive thinking extends into relationships as well. People who maintain constructive attitudes often communicate more calmly and approach disagreements with greater understanding. This behavior strengthens trust and cooperation with others. Physical health can also benefit from a strengthened mindset. Research has shown that optimistic thinking often reduces stress and improves overall well-being. When the mind remains balanced, the body responds with lower tension and better emotional stability. Another powerful outcome is increased creativity. A mind that expects possibility becomes more willing to explore new ideas. Instead of immediately dismissing unusual solutions, it examines them with curiosity. This openness can lead to innovative approaches in both personal and professional life. Strengthening the mind requires patience because old patterns may attempt to return. Negative thinking sometimes appears automatically, especially during stressful situations. The key is to gently redirect attention rather than becoming discouraged. Each correction reinforces the habit of constructive thinking. Eventually, the practice becomes natural. Positive interpretations arise more quickly and confidence grows stronger. The mind learns to remain steady even when facing uncertainty. This stability allows a person to pursue goals with greater determination and calmness. A strong mind does not pretend that life contains no difficulty. Instead, it recognizes difficulty and still chooses hope, effort, and progress. This decision shapes the way experiences are interpreted and how actions are taken. Every day presents countless moments where thoughts can move in different directions. Choosing positive thinking during those moments gradually builds a powerful foundation within the mind. Over time, that foundation supports stronger decisions, healthier emotions, and more meaningful achievements. The transformation may begin quietly, almost unnoticed, but consistent positive thinking steadily reshapes the way a person experiences life. What once felt overwhelming becomes manageable. What once seemed impossible begins to look achievable. The mind becomes an ally instead of an obstacle, guiding each step toward a future built on resilience, confidence, and steady growth. Chapter 9. Improve your environment to support better daily decisions. The environment in which a person lives and works shapes decisions far more than most people realize. Every day, countless choices are influenced by surroundings, the people nearby, and the cues embedded in daily routines. A cluttered space, negative social circles, or constant exposure to distractions can subtly erode focus, discipline, and motivation. Conversely, an environment designed to support growth encourages productivity, clarity, and better decision-making. The changes required are often simple, but their impact compounds over time, creating conditions that make success more attainable and consistency more natural. Begin by examining physical spaces. The area where work, learning, and rest occur has a direct effect on concentration and energy. A workspace filled with disorganization, unnecessary items, or frequent interruptions constantly pulls attention away from priorities. When surfaces are clean, tools are organized, and distractions are minimized, the mind can devote its full energy to the task at hand. Lighting, temperature, and comfort also matter. A well-lit, quiet, and comfortable environment reduces mental strain, allowing decisions to be deliberate rather than impulsive. Surrounding oneself with resources that encourage progress is equally important. Books, notes, and tools that align with personal goals create a subtle framework for daily improvement. For example, a person focused on learning a new skill benefits from having reference materials readily accessible. A student aiming to improve physical fitness gains advantage from equipment and routines clearly visible in their living area. When supportive tools are easy to reach, effort becomes less burdensome and more consistent. The people in an environment shape behavior profoundly. Associations with individuals who encourage growth, discipline, and accountability elevate standards naturally. Regular interaction with those who challenge thinking, provide constructive feedback, or exemplify strong habits creates pressure to match positive behavior. Conversely, negative influences subtly reinforce poor habits, excuses, or procrastination. Choosing relationships consciously ensures that daily energy is invested in connection with those who inspire rather than drain. Digital surroundings require attention as well. Phones, social media, email notifications, and endless online content consume mental bandwidth. Constant exposure to these distractions reduces clarity, increases stress, and weakens willpower. Creating intentional boundaries with digital tools protects focus. Designating periods of uninterrupted work, limiting notifications, and curating content for education or personal growth allow the mind to operate more efficiently and make better decisions. Routine also plays a critical role in shaping the environment. Daily structures act as invisible guides that reduce the need for constant decision-making. For instance, arranging a morning sequence that prioritizes important work, exercise, and reflection decreases the chances of being swayed by trivial distractions. When routines are consistent, energy is preserved for tasks that matter most, and poor choices are less likely to dominate the day. Sensory inputs can either enhance or hinder daily performance. Surroundings that create calmness and focus contribute to better decision-making. Minimal clutter, soothing colors, or even strategic background sounds can influence emotional stability. A chaotic or overly stimulating environment often results in rushed decisions, reactive behavior, and mental fatigue. Thoughtful arrangement of sensory elements strengthens the ability to remain deliberate and grounded. Another element involves the removal of temptations. Environments often contain triggers for unproductive behavior, whether unhealthy foods, excessive entertainment, or opportunities to procrastinate. Identifying and minimizing these triggers reduces the cognitive load associated with resisting them. When obstacles to good choices are removed, self-discipline becomes easier, and consistency is more achievable. Time management within an environment is equally significant. Structuring spaces for specific activities creates mental associations that encourage productive behavior. A clearly designated area for work, a separate space for rest, and defined zones for recreation reduce interference between tasks. This clarity allows the brain to focus fully on the current activity, improving decision quality and execution. Accountability mechanisms can be integrated into the environment as well. Visual reminders of goals, progress charts, or checklists provide tangible reinforcement of desired behavior. These cues reduce reliance on memory and motivation alone, creating consistent nudges toward productive choices. The environment then acts as a silent partner, continuously guiding action toward improvement. Exposure to inspiration within the environment supports resilience and optimism. Visual cues, motivational messages, or personal achievements displayed in the living space remind the mind of possibilities and reinforce self-belief. Subtle reinforcement shapes perception, creating a mindset prepared for success and attentive to opportunities for growth. Consistency arises when the environment aligns with values and goals. Conflicting cues between surroundings and personal ambitions create friction that drains energy. Streamlining the environment to reflect priorities ensures that daily decisions naturally support improvement. Each choice then requires less resistance and deliberate effort, because the surroundings have already set the stage for positive behavior. Observation and reflection on environmental influence are essential. Regular assessment allows a person to identify what supports decision-making and what undermines it. This ongoing awareness prevents complacency and ensures that adjustments can be made before habits drift off course. Small changes over time create cumulative effects, enhancing focus, discipline, and productivity. The environment also impacts mental and emotional resilience. Spaces designed for clarity, order, and support reduce stress and encourage stability. When the mind is not constantly battling distractions or negative influences, energy is preserved for meaningful action. This preservation enhances the quality of decisions and strengthens the ability to remain consistent under pressure. Behavioral triggers embedded in the environment guide subconscious choices. For instance, placing exercise equipment where it is visible encourages movement. Keeping healthy foods accessible encourages better nutrition. Removing distracting technology during focus periods fosters sustained attention. The environment becomes a silent coach, shaping action without relying solely on willpower. Positive reinforcement from the environment strengthens motivation. Each successful action, when supported by surroundings, reinforces the connection between effort and outcome. Over time, this creates an internal feedback loop where consistent behavior feels natural rather than forced. The mind learns that good choices lead to tangible benefits, increasing the likelihood of repetition. Ultimately, the environment is a tool for deliberate growth. It does not replace personal responsibility, effort, or discipline, but it amplifies their effects. By designing spaces, relationships, routines, and cues intentionally, a person increases the probability of consistent positive decisions. Each small adjustment contributes to a life in which habits focus and priorities align effortlessly with goals. Maintaining an environment that supports better daily decisions requires ongoing effort. Life circumstances change, distractions appear, and priorities shift. Continual attention ensures that surroundings remain aligned with ambitions. Reflection, adjustment, and occasional reorganization keep the environment optimized for growth. Every choice made within an improved environment becomes easier and more deliberate. Energy previously spent resisting distractions, confusion, or chaos can now be directed toward meaningful action. Over time, these decisions compound, producing results that once seemed distant or difficult. The environment thus becomes a powerful partner in personal development, providing structure, support, and guidance for every step taken toward improvement. A carefully curated environment transforms the ordinary into a foundation for excellence. It cultivates clarity, reduces resistance, and consistently encourages better daily choices. When surroundings are intentionally designed, they no longer compete with goals, but actively promote progress, making personal growth a natural and sustainable part of life. Chapter 100. Speak honestly to yourself about the life you want. Many people go through life without pausing to honestly examine what they truly want. They follow routines, habits, and expectations set by others, sometimes mistaking comfort for fulfillment. Genuine transformation begins with an unflinching conversation with yourself about your goals, your desires, and the life you envision. Speaking honestly to yourself is not easy. It requires courage, clarity, and a willingness to face uncomfortable truths. It is the foundation for building a life aligned with values, passions, and purpose. The first step is reflection. Take time to consider what matters most. Identify areas of your life that feel unfulfilling or misaligned with your true priorities. This may involve questioning long-held assumptions about success, happiness, and identity. Avoid distractions or excuses that justify dissatisfaction. True honesty demands that you strip away pretense and confront reality with clarity. Acknowledging desires requires separating them from external pressures. Many people pursue goals because of societal expectations, family influence, or comparison to others. While external input can be informative, it should not dictate personal direction. Honest self-assessment involves asking which ambitions truly originate from your inner values, rather than what others suggest. Distinguishing between these allows focus on what genuinely motivates you. Clarity arises when you define the life you want in specific terms. Vague desires like wanting happiness or success are insufficient because they cannot guide actionable steps. Define what happiness or success looks like in your own terms. Consider the daily habits, the environment, the relationships, and the achievements that would make life meaningful. The more precise the vision, the easier it is to measure progress and make decisions that align with it. Self-awareness is strengthened by observing current actions. Are daily choices moving you toward the life you desire, or are they sustaining comfort without growth? Honest evaluation requires acknowledging areas where habits, attitudes, or decisions undermine personal goals. Confronting these inconsistencies is difficult, but it is necessary for realignment. Without recognition of current gaps, aspiration remains disconnected from reality. Writing down goals and reflections enhances clarity. Recording thoughts removes ambiguity and externalizes internal dialogue. This practice allows for structured evaluation, tracking of progress, and articulation of priorities. Written statements also serve as reference points when distractions, doubts, or external pressures emerge. Clear documentation prevents drifting away from the authentic path. Honesty requires confronting fears and insecurities. Often people avoid recognizing what they truly want because of fear of failure, criticism, or discomfort. Ignoring these fears may provide temporary relief, but it prolongs dissatisfaction. Facing fears directly allows a person to understand what is holding them back and to take deliberate steps despite discomfort. Courage and honesty are inseparable in the pursuit of meaningful life changes. Prioritization becomes possible once desires are clarified. Life contains limited time and energy, making it crucial to distinguish between what is essential and what is trivial. Honest evaluation identifies non-essential commitments, unhelpful habits, and negative influences that do not serve the vision. Removing or reducing these factors frees space for actions that directly contribute to progress. Consistency and discipline are essential companions to honesty. Knowing what you want without acting on it achieves nothing. Honest acknowledgement of aspirations must be followed by daily decisions that reflect those ambitions. Each choice should be evaluated through the lens of alignment with personal values and long-term goals. This process turns abstract desires into practical, achievable steps. Reflection also extends to relationships. Evaluate whether social connections support or hinder the life you seek. Surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage growth, accountability, and integrity strengthens alignment with authentic goals. Conversely, remaining tied to toxic or indifferent relationships can obscure clarity and erode motivation. Honest recognition of social influences enables proactive management of external factors. Self-honesty includes acknowledging limitations. Recognizing skills, knowledge gaps, or behavioral tendencies does not diminish potential. Instead, it provides a foundation for improvement. Accurate assessment allows for targeted learning, practice, and strategy development. Accepting limitations while committing to consistent effort creates balance between aspiration and realistic action. Visualization reinforces the life you want. Imagining daily routines, accomplishments, and interactions vividly allows the mind to internalize the desired state. Honest visualization is not fantasy but a mental rehearsal that prepares decision-making and emotional responses. It helps align present actions with future objectives, creating a bridge between vision and reality. Daily reflection strengthens commitment. Spending even a few minutes each day assessing progress, decisions, and alignment with personal goals reinforces awareness. Honest evaluation reveals small deviations before they grow into significant obstacles. Over time, this practice fosters self-trust, ensuring that internal guidance remains reliable and consistent. Accountability enhances honesty. Sharing goals and reflections with trusted mentors, peers, or coaches provides external feedback and reinforces internal integrity. Constructive critique and observation often highlight blind spots that self-assessment alone may miss. Honest feedback accelerates alignment between vision and action. Honesty also extends to emotions. Suppressing feelings of dissatisfaction, frustration, or desire often delays growth. Recognizing emotional states objectively allows for purposeful action rather than reactive behavior. Emotions serve as signals indicating areas needing attention, adjustment, or deeper reflection. Responding to these signals constructively strengthens emotional intelligence and resilience. Clarity in communication with oneself reduces the influence of excuses. Excuses often mask internal conflict or fear, preventing action. Honest recognition of these patterns exposes barriers and provides the opportunity to overcome them. Each time excuses are replaced with reality-based evaluation, decision-making becomes sharper and more aligned with personal objectives. Honest reflection encourages flexibility. Life circumstances change, requiring adjustment of plans and strategies. By maintaining a clear understanding of what is truly desired, decisions can adapt without losing sight of overarching goals. Flexibility ensures continued progress even in the face of unexpected challenges or opportunities. Daily habits reflect honesty with oneself. Actions consistently aligned with personal goals reinforce the integrity of self-assessment. Small choices accumulate into significant transformation over time. When behavior consistently mirrors intentions, confidence in one's ability to shape life strengthens naturally. Speaking honestly to yourself also fosters authenticity. It reduces the tendency to conform unnecessarily to others' expectations and encourages living in alignment with intrinsic values. Authentic living produces satisfaction and sustained motivation, unlike paths dictated solely by external pressures. Ultimately, transformation requires embracing the truth of your aspirations and confronting any internal resistance with clarity and courage. Honest reflection, consistent evaluation, deliberate action, and alignment of choices with values together create a powerful foundation for building the life you genuinely desire. Each day offers an opportunity to reaffirm this truth and act accordingly, producing tangible progress and a sense of fulfillment that comes only from living in accordance with one's authentic self. Chapter 11. Protect your time and remove harmful daily distractions. Time is the most precious resource a person possesses, yet it is also the one most easily wasted. Every day presents a finite number of hours, and how these hours are used determines the trajectory of life. Distractions, interruptions, and poorly managed priorities slowly erode progress and leave potential unfulfilled. Protecting time requires intentional effort, clear boundaries, and disciplined focus. It begins with recognizing that time cannot be regained once it is lost, making conscious choices about how to spend each moment essential for personal growth. The first step in protecting time is identifying the activities that consume it without contributing value. Many distractions are subtle and habitual, such as endlessly scrolling through social media, responding to unimportant notifications, or indulging in passive entertainment. These actions provide immediate gratification but drain energy and focus. Observing patterns in daily routines reveals which behaviors occupy hours without meaningful results. Awareness is critical because habits often operate unconsciously, and only through careful observation can they be addressed effectively. Once time-consuming distractions are identified, it becomes possible to reduce or eliminate them. Setting boundaries with technology is one of the most effective methods. Phones, emails, and online platforms are powerful tools when used intentionally, but they can dominate attention when left unchecked. Creating designated periods for communication, work, and leisure ensures that time is directed toward purposeful activities. Silence, focus, and uninterrupted work periods cultivate deep concentration and higher quality output. Prioritization plays a central role in managing time. Not all tasks are equally important, and distinguishing between urgent, necessary, and trivial activities allows energy to be allocated efficiently. Daily planning using lists or schedules clarifies which actions align with long-term objectives. This practice prevents reactive decision-making and reduces the likelihood of wasting time on activities that provide little value. Each decision about where to focus attention becomes deliberate, intentional, and strategic. Creating an environment that supports focus further strengthens time management. A clean workspace and organized materials and a quiet setting minimize interruptions and mental clutter. When the physical environment reinforces productive habits, less mental effort is required to maintain attention. Every element that reduces friction allows more energy to be devoted to meaningful work rather than resisting distractions. Learning to say no is essential for protecting time. Many individuals overcommit because they feel obligated or fear missing opportunities. Each agreement carries a cost in attention and energy, often compromising priorities. Evaluating commitments against long-term goals ensures that acceptance of tasks aligns with personal vision. Declining distractions, unnecessary meetings, or low-value activities is an act of self-respect that safeguards focus and efficiency. Batching similar tasks improves efficiency and reduces time lost to context switching. Handling similar responsibilities together allows the mind to remain engaged in a particular type of thinking, increasing speed and quality. Multitasking, by contrast, often fragments attention and reduces effectiveness. Concentrating on one type of task for a set period produces greater results in less time and preserves mental energy. Developing routines reinforces time discipline. Consistent patterns for work, exercise, reflection, and rest reduce indecision and ensure that critical activities are completed daily. When routines are established, fewer decisions are required, and the mind is freed from constant deliberation. This structure preserves willpower for choices that matter most, creating momentum toward long-term goals. Mindful awareness of internal distractions is also crucial. Thoughts, worries, and random mental chatter can pull focus from the present task. Practicing techniques such as brief reflection, meditation, or deliberate breathing helps maintain attention. By training the mind to recognize when it drifts, it becomes easier to redirect energy toward productive actions. Mental discipline complements external time management, producing consistent progress. Accountability reinforces protection of time. Sharing goals, schedules, or progress reports with mentors, peers, or colleagues increases commitment and reduces procrastination. Knowing that someone will observe outcomes encourages focus and reduces indulgence in distractions. Accountability converts intention into measurable action and strengthens self-discipline. Setting clear goals for each day provides direction and reduces wasted time. When objectives are specific, measurable, and realistic, every choice about how to spend moments is informed by these targets. Time spent aligns with progress, and distractions lose appeal because their cost becomes more tangible. Goals function as both guidance and motivation, transforming hours into meaningful steps toward achievement. Energy management enhances time protection. High-quality work is possible only when mental and physical energy are maintained. Sleep, nutrition, exercise, and short breaks all contribute to sustained focus. Ignoring energy needs often results in prolonged periods of inefficiency or distraction. Taking care of the body and mind ensures that available time is used effectively, maximizing results without unnecessary strain. Reflection at the end of each day consolidates learning about time management. Reviewing accomplishments, assessing wasted hours, and identifying areas for improvement allows future days to be structured more effectively. Honest evaluation highlights recurring distractions and patterns that require adjustment. Small daily corrections compound over time, producing significant improvement in focus and productivity. Delegation is another strategy to protect time. Not every task requires personal attention. Identifying responsibilities that can be handled by others frees energy for activities that demand unique skills, creativity, or decision-making. Delegation reduces overload, prevents burnout, and ensures that high-value work receives priority. Time becomes concentrated on actions that produce the most meaningful impact. Intentional leisure and rest also support effective time management. Protecting time does not mean constant work, but rather strategic allocation of energy to both productivity and recovery. Moments of rest, reflection, or creative diversion replenish focus and reduce mental fatigue. Balanced management ensures that each hour of effort is effective and sustainable over time. Removing environmental triggers for distraction reinforces discipline. Notifications, clutter, and excessive noise increase susceptibility to interruptions. By modifying surroundings to minimize these triggers, the mind can remain fully engaged. Even minor adjustments, such as muting alerts, organizing workspaces, or setting clear boundaries with others, have a significant cumulative effect on time efficiency. Time protection requires awareness of personal tendencies toward procrastination. Recognizing moments when attention drifts or excuses arise allows for deliberate correction. Structured schedules, accountability, and incremental steps reduce the risk of falling into patterns that waste hours. Understanding and addressing personal habits ensures that focus is sustained consistently. Prioritizing long-term outcomes over short-term gratification is essential. Many distractions appeal to immediate pleasure or avoidance of discomfort. Strengthening commitment to meaningful objectives ensures that transient attractions do not undermine progress. Time is preserved for actions that truly matter rather than fleeting indulgences. Over time, protecting time and removing harmful distractions cultivates independence and mastery. Each day of focused action compounds into significant results. Habits of attention, discipline, and intentional choice build resilience against chaos and interruption. The mind learns to operate efficiently, and daily decisions increasingly support personal growth and achievement. Ultimately, safeguarding time is a conscious commitment to oneself. Every moment is an opportunity, and every distraction avoided strengthens the ability to direct life intentionally. By observing routines, controlling environments, managing energy, and prioritizing purposefully, a person transforms hours into powerful tools for progress. Consistent effort in protecting time produces freedom, clarity, and results that align with ambition, allowing life to unfold according to deliberate choice rather than external interference. Chapter 12 is Practice daily gratitude to create a stronger mindset. Gratitude is one of the simplest yet most powerful tools for shaping the mind and enhancing daily life. A consistent practice of gratitude changes perspective, strengthens resilience, and fosters a mindset capable of navigating challenges with calm and clarity. It is not about ignoring difficulties or pretending life is perfect. It is about deliberately focusing attention on what is working, what is available, and what contributes positively, creating a foundation for constructive thought and intentional action. This shift from scarcity thinking to recognition of value cultivates mental strength and encourages proactive behavior. The practice begins with conscious awareness, observing daily moments, experiences, and interactions that bring even small satisfaction or insight encourages a habit of acknowledgement. Gratitude is not reserved for extraordinary events. Simple recognition of a supportive conversation, a completed task, or a quiet moment of reflection is sufficient. Daily attention to these aspects trains the brain to notice positive elements automatically, reducing the tendency to dwell on setbacks or frustrations. Repetition builds a lasting neural pattern that supports mental resilience. Writing down what one is grateful for enhances the impact. Recording thoughts in a journal, notebook, or digital space creates structure and reinforces intentional focus. Listing 3 to 5 items each day encourages consistency and reflection. Over time, reviewing these entries reminds the mind of accumulated progress, resources, and strengths. Tangible evidence of value strengthens confidence and increases motivation to engage in deliberate action. Gratitude also sharpens perspective on challenges. Recognizing growth opportunities within difficulties reframes adversity as meaningful rather than purely negative. Each obstacle or failure contains lessons, skills, and experiences that contribute to personal development. Noticing these elements strengthens the mind's capacity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It fosters a sense of agency and control, improving decision-making under pressure. Sharing gratitude with others magnifies its benefits. Expressing appreciation to colleagues, friends, or family strengthens relationships and encourages a supportive environment. Positive interactions reinforce social bonds, reduce conflict, and create reciprocity. This external reinforcement provides additional motivation to maintain a constructive mindset and cultivates a cycle of acknowledgement and encouragement. Gratitude enhances mental clarity. Focusing on positive aspects prevents the mind from becoming overwhelmed by excessive worry or negative rumination. By allocating attention to what is functioning well, the mind develops a framework for identifying solutions and opportunities rather than dwelling on problems. This clarity allows for intentional goal setting and consistent progress. Mental energy is preserved for productive action rather than dissipated in self-criticism or regret. Incorporating gratitude into daily routines increases consistency. Morning reflection before starting the day or evening review before sleep provides structured moments for acknowledgement. These repeated practices establish a pattern of positive focus that strengthens emotional stability and resilience. Gradually, gratitude becomes automatic, guiding perception and reinforcing habits that support personal growth and effective decision-making. Gratitude strengthens emotional regulation. Regular acknowledgement of positive aspects reduces stress, anxiety, and impulsive reactions. The mind becomes accustomed to considering multiple perspectives and recognizing balance, allowing individuals to respond rather than react to difficulties. This emotional stability enhances relationships, productivity, and overall well-being. Observing the interconnectedness of experiences reinforces gratitude. Recognizing the roles of effort, circumstance, and the contributions of others in personal progress encourages humility and awareness. This understanding fosters patience, persistence, and a collaborative mindset. Awareness of interdependence reduces ego-driven frustration and encourages practical action aligned with long-term objectives. Daily practice also reinforces goal alignment. Gratitude highlights what has been achieved, creating motivation to continue pursuing meaningful objectives. Recognizing milestones, skills gained, and progress made encourages consistency and perseverance. Each acknowledgement strengthens the connection between effort and outcome, reinforcing accountability and persistence. Gratitude improves focus on the present moment. By attending to what is available and positive now, the mind becomes less distracted by regrets from the past or anxieties about the future. Present, focused attention allows for deliberate choices and more effective execution of plans. Awareness of current resources, opportunities, and capabilities supports practical action and steady progress. Intentional gratitude develops mental resilience against external negativity. Exposure to criticism, conflict, or challenging circumstances is inevitable, but a foundation of acknowledgement provides stability. By regularly focusing on positive elements, the mind develops resistance to discouragement and maintains clarity in decision-making. Strength derived from acknowledgement supports consistent effort toward personal growth. Practicing gratitude enhances creativity and problem-solving. Recognizing what is available rather than what is missing encourages innovative use of resources and adaptive thinking. The mind trained in acknowledgement identifies potential solutions more readily, seeing opportunity rather than limitation. This mental approach leads to practical improvements, effective strategies, and consistent advancement. Gratitude cultivates self-awareness. Observing moments of appreciation illuminates values, preferences, and priorities. By understanding what is genuinely meaningful, decisions and actions can align with authentic goals. Awareness of personal motivations prevents misalignment, wasted effort, and unnecessary distraction. This alignment strengthens both productivity and satisfaction in daily life. Consistency in gratitude reinforces a positive feedback loop. Each day of acknowledgement compounds, influencing perception and behavior. Over time, this practice reshapes cognitive patterns, encouraging proactive, intentional, and constructive thinking. The mind becomes naturally inclined to notice opportunities, resources, and advantages, fostering a stronger, more resilient mindset. Gratitude is also closely tied to patience. Recognizing incremental progress, available support, and daily accomplishments reduces impatience and frustration with challenges. The mind develops endurance, allowing consistent effort toward long-term objectives without unnecessary distraction or discouragement. This patient persistence reinforces effective habits and daily improvement. Finally, gratitude becomes a lens through which life is interpreted. Daily acknowledgement fosters clarity, resilience, emotional stability, and alignment with values. It supports intentional decision-making, strengthens relationships, and enhances mental strength. Through consistent practice, the mind becomes anchored in appreciation, allowing personal growth to occur steadily, naturally, and effectively. The development of a daily gratitude practice provides a foundation for sustained progress, enhanced focus, and a mindset capable of achieving meaningful, lasting transformation. Chapter 13. Take small steps every day toward meaningful goals. Meaningful goals are rarely achieved through sudden leaps or dramatic breakthroughs. Real progress comes from consistent, deliberate effort applied daily. Each small action compounds over time, building momentum that eventually produces significant results. Understanding this principle transforms the approach to life. It replaces the illusion of overnight success with a realistic strategy rooted in persistence, focus, and patience. The key is to break large aspirations into manageable, actionable steps and commit to completing them consistently. The first aspect of this process is clarity. A meaningful goal must be defined in precise terms. Vague intentions like wanting to be successful or improve my life provide little direction. Identify exactly what you want to accomplish and the specific outcomes that indicate progress. Defining the goal in measurable terms allows the creation of a step-by-step plan. Each day becomes an opportunity to act purposefully rather than drifting without direction. Next, consider the process rather than only the end result. Daily small steps matter because they create habits, reinforce discipline, and generate momentum. These actions may seem insignificant individually, but collectively they transform circumstances and character. Progress is built incrementally, and repeated small achievements provide tangible evidence that growth is occurring. This approach fosters motivation, even when results are not immediately visible. Actionable planning is essential. Break goals into micro tasks that can be completed within a day or a few hours. Each task should contribute directly to the larger objective, This method reduces overwhelm, making progress manageable and measurable. Completing small steps consistently prevents stagnation and gradually transforms ambition into reality. The satisfaction of consistent accomplishment strengthens confidence and reinforces commitment to the overarching goal. Consistency requires discipline. Motivation fluctuates, and relying solely on fleeting inspiration is unreliable. Daily commitment, regardless of energy or circumstances, is what creates sustainable progress. Establishing routines that incorporate specific actions toward goals embeds productivity into everyday life. Regular effort ensures that even small actions accumulate into substantial advancement over weeks, months, and years. Reflection and evaluation are critical. Each day, assess what actions contributed effectively to the goal and which could be improved. Honest evaluation enables adjustment and refinement of strategies. This practice prevents wasted effort and ensures that each step is aligned with meaningful objectives. Over time, reflection enhances efficiency and effectiveness, making each small action more impactful than the previous one. Persistence in the face of setbacks is vital. Challenges, failures, and unexpected obstacles are inevitable. Maintaining focus on small daily actions ensures continued progress even when external results are delayed. The accumulation of effort over time outweighs temporary difficulties. Resilience is strengthened by understanding that setbacks do not negate progress, but provide opportunities to refine methods and reinforce commitment. Prioritization ensures that daily actions serve meaningful goals rather than distractions. Every day presents numerous choices, and attention can easily be divided. Evaluating tasks according to their contribution to long-term objectives ensures that effort is concentrated where it matters most. This clarity reduces wasted energy and reinforces a sense of purpose in every action taken. Tracking progress reinforces accountability. Recording completed steps, achieved milestones, and lessons learned provides tangible proof of advancement. Documentation also reveals patterns, identifies bottlenecks, and encourages reflection on improvements. Seeing consistent, incremental progress fosters a positive mindset, reinforcing the value of daily effort and motivating continued action toward larger goals. Patience is a companion to daily effort. Significant accomplishments rarely occur overnight. Recognizing that growth requires time prevents frustration and discouragement. Each small step contributes cumulatively to the overall objective, and patience ensures persistence through periods when progress feels slow or invisible. This approach strengthens mental endurance and reinforces confidence in the process. Flexibility enhances effectiveness. Goals and circumstances can evolve, and adapting daily steps to align with new information ensures continued relevance and impact. Honest assessment of what is working and what is not allows for practical adjustments without abandoning long-term intentions. Adaptation maintains momentum and prevents wasted effort on ineffective strategies. Celebrating small achievements reinforces the habit of action. Recognizing incremental progress motivates continued effort and highlights the tangible effects of consistent work. This reinforcement strengthens the link between action and outcome, fostering a mindset that values steady improvement over unrealistic expectations of sudden transformation. Accountability partners or mentors can amplify progress. Sharing goals and daily commitments with someone else encourages discipline, provides external feedback, and reduces the tendency to delay or neglect steps. Constructive observation identifies areas for refinement and reinforces the importance of consistency. External accountability complements internal commitment, accelerating progress toward meaningful goals. Visualization of incremental success enhances motivation. Imagining the completion of each small step and its contribution to the larger goal reinforces purpose and engagement. Visualization focuses the mind on actionable steps rather than abstract desires, creating clarity about priorities and strategies. Mental rehearsal strengthens decision-making and prepares the mind to navigate challenges with focus and determination. Integration into daily life is key. Small actions should not be seen as optional or separate from existing routines. Embedding them into morning habits, work schedules, or evening reflections ensures continuity and sustainability. Consistency transforms effort from deliberate action into automatic practice, reducing mental resistance and reinforcing long-term discipline. Daily learning complements action. Each step provides information about strengths, weaknesses, and effective strategies. Observing results, analyzing outcomes, and adjusting accordingly accelerates improvement. Continuous learning ensures that every small step builds not only progress toward goals but also skill, knowledge, and capacity for future challenges. The mindset of incremental effort fosters confidence. Completing small tasks consistently proves capability and develops self-trust. Each action reinforces the belief that goals are attainable through structured, repeated effort. Confidence grows not from chance or luck, but from tangible, measurable accomplishments. This self-assurance strengthens resilience and encourages ambition. Small steps also enhance adaptability. Tackling manageable portions of larger goals allows experimentation with approaches and refinement of techniques. Mistakes are more manageable, lessons are immediate, and improvements are implemented continuously. Incremental progress ensures that effort is always constructive, minimizing wasted energy and frustration. Consistency builds momentum that transcends effort. Once a pattern of daily action is established, it becomes self-reinforcing. Motivation increases as results accumulate, attention remains focused, and habit strengthens. Momentum reduces reliance on willpower alone, allowing continued advancement with less conscious struggle. Ultimately, taking small steps every day transforms abstract goals into achievable reality. Each deliberate action, reflection, and adjustment strengthens discipline, builds skill, and creates measurable progress. The accumulation of daily effort produces results far greater than sporadic bursts of energy. By embracing incremental action, prioritizing purpose, maintaining consistency, and reflecting on outcomes, meaningful goals become attainable. Each day is an opportunity to move closer to the life envisioned, and every small step is a building block of lasting achievement. Chapter 14. Train your mind to remain calm under pressure. Remaining calm under pressure is a skill that defines both personal strength and the ability to make effective decisions. Life will inevitably present moments of stress, urgency, and high stakes, and how the mind responds determines outcomes. Calmness is not a passive state, but an active skill that can be developed through awareness, practice, and intentional strategies. Training the mind to remain composed begins with recognizing the natural tendency to react impulsively in stressful situations. Understanding this tendency allows conscious intervention before emotions dictate behavior. The first step is awareness of internal responses. When pressure arises, the body and mind react automatically with stress signals such as increased heart rate, tension, or rapid thoughts. Observing these responses without judgment provides clarity about triggers and patterns. Awareness creates the space necessary for choosing deliberate responses rather than reacting impulsively to external circumstances. Each observation strengthens the mind's capacity to remain grounded in the face of adversity. Breath control is a fundamental tool for maintaining calm. Conscious breathing slows the nervous system, reduces tension, and provides a focal point for attention. Simple techniques such as taking slow, deep breaths and counting each inhale and exhale anchor the mind and stabilize physiological responses. Breath becomes a practical tool that can be used anywhere, providing immediate access to calmness in high-pressure moments. Mindful attention reinforces calmness. Focusing on the present task rather than projecting outcomes or ruminating on potential problems prevents the mind from becoming overwhelmed. Mindfulness involves directing awareness to current sensations, thoughts, and actions without judgment. This practice strengthens resilience and creates clarity, allowing decisions to be made rationally rather than impulsively under emotional strain. Visualization of composure enhances mental training. Imagining oneself responding to pressure calmly and effectively strengthens neural pathways associated with self-control. Mental rehearsal prepares the mind for real situations, reducing surprise and automatic reactivity. By repeatedly practicing composed responses mentally, the mind becomes conditioned to act with clarity when real challenges arise. Preparation is a key element of maintaining calm under stress. Anticipating potential challenges and rehearsing responses equips the mind with strategies to navigate difficulties effectively. Knowledge and planning reduce uncertainty, which is often a primary source of anxiety. When a situation is anticipated and understood, the mind can focus on solutions rather than being consumed by fear or confusion. Cognitive reframing is another essential strategy. Viewing challenges as opportunities for growth or as tasks to be solved rather than threats reduces emotional intensity. Shifting perspective transforms pressure into constructive focus. Reframing challenges allows the mind to respond with strategy and determination instead of fear or avoidance, producing better outcomes in both personal and professional contexts. Developing patience strengthens the capacity to remain calm. Pressure often triggers urgency, pushing the mind toward hasty decisions. Training patience involves deliberately slowing thought processes, evaluating information carefully, and delaying reaction until clarity is achieved. Patience provides mental stability and prevents mistakes that arise from impulsive action. Routine practice of stress management reinforces calmness. Daily activities that simulate mild pressure, such as timed problem-solving exercises or challenging tasks, prepare the mind for more significant situations. Regular exposure to manageable stress conditions strengthens resilience, making real high-pressure scenarios more manageable. The mind becomes accustomed to navigating difficulty without surrendering composure. Self-talk shapes the response to pressure. Internal dialogue can escalate stress or reinforce calmness depending on its nature. Encouraging statements, reminders of capability, and affirmations of preparedness reduce anxiety and reinforce a sense of control. Repeatedly training the mind to respond with positive, constructive thoughts builds automatic resilience under pressure. Physical conditioning complements mental training. Regular exercise, adequate sleep, and proper nutrition reduce susceptibility to stress and improve overall energy and focus. A strong body supports a calm mind, allowing the nervous system to regulate more effectively during pressure situations. Physical well-being enhances endurance, mental clarity, and the ability to sustain composure when challenges arise. Gradual exposure to increasingly challenging situations develops tolerance to pressure, starting with low-stress tasks and progressively tackling more complex or urgent circumstances strengthens confidence and composure. Incremental growth allows the mind to learn coping mechanisms and strategies effectively without becoming overwhelmed. Experience under controlled stress prepares the individual for unexpected challenges. Reflection after high-pressure situations consolidates learning. Evaluating responses, identifying triggers, and assessing outcomes provide valuable feedback for future improvement. Honest reflection strengthens self-awareness and highlights strategies that maintain calm effectively. Each experience becomes a lesson in composure, reinforcing the ability to handle similar circumstances more efficiently over time. Maintaining focus on what is controllable prevents distraction by external chaos. High-pressure scenarios often involve elements outside of personal control, and allocating energy to these factors increases stress unnecessarily. Identifying actionable aspects of the situation and directing attention toward them allows the mind to act effectively. This approach minimizes wasted energy and maximizes productive response. Consistency in practicing mental calmness is crucial. Sporadic effort produces limited results, while regular, deliberate training strengthens neural pathways and creates automatic composure. Repetition reinforces habits, making calm responses a natural default rather than an occasional effort. Discipline over time ensures reliability in maintaining stability under pressure. Social support can enhance mental stability. Discussing challenges, seeking guidance, and observing the composed behavior of others provides models and reinforcement for personal development. Mentorship and peer observation offer practical insight into strategies for maintaining calm. Learning from others' experiences accelerates mastery of composure. Finally, understanding that pressure is an opportunity rather than a threat transforms perception. Situations that demand focus, clarity, and composure provide a platform for growth, skill application, and confidence building. Embracing pressure as a catalyst for development fosters resilience and mental strength. Over time, the trained mind approaches challenges with focus, control, and clarity, responding strategically instead of reacting impulsively. Training the mind to remain calm under pressure is a deliberate, continuous practice. Awareness, breath control, mindfulness, visualization, preparation, cognitive reframing, patience, routine exposure, positive self-talk, physical conditioning, gradual challenge, reflection, focus on controllable elements, consistency, social learning, and perception management all contribute to a resilient mindset. Each strategy reinforces the others, creating a robust framework that allows individuals to navigate difficulties effectively. Calmness under pressure becomes not only a skill, but a defining trait that shapes decision-making, productivity, and long-term success. Chapter 15c. Develop self-discipline through daily consistent effort. Self-discipline is the cornerstone of personal growth and long-term achievement, and it is built through consistent effort applied day after day. It is not a quality that suddenly appears, but a skill cultivated through repeated, deliberate actions over time. Every small choice to act according to intention rather than impulse strengthens the foundation of discipline. Daily effort becomes the vehicle through which goals are achieved, habits are formed, and character is shaped. Understanding that discipline is not about perfection, but about persistent action makes the process both practical and sustainable. The first step in developing self-discipline is clarity about priorities. Knowing what matters most allows the mind to focus on meaningful actions rather than being diverted by trivial tasks or fleeting desires. When goals and values are clear, decisions become easier and actions naturally align with long-term objectives. This clarity forms the framework for consistent effort, making each day purposeful and directed toward improvement. Daily practice is essential to build self-discipline. Even small actions, when repeated consistently, create momentum and strengthen the mental muscle of self-control. This might include setting specific routines, following schedules, completing tasks on time, or resisting short-term temptations in favor of long-term benefits. Consistency transforms intention into habit, and over time, discipline becomes an automatic part of behavior rather than a constant struggle. Accountability reinforces consistency. Tracking actions, recording progress, or sharing goals with a trusted person creates external reinforcement. Knowing that actions are observed or monitored motivates adherence to daily commitments and reduces the likelihood of neglect. Accountability strengthens commitment to routine, making self-discipline less dependent on fluctuating motivation or emotion. Patience is a vital companion to self-discipline. Progress rarely appears overnight, and sustained effort is necessary to achieve meaningful results. Understanding that daily practice compounds over time prevents discouragement when immediate outcomes are not visible. Patience allows consistent action to accumulate, producing results that reflect the cumulative power of disciplined effort. Resisting distractions strengthens self-control. The mind is constantly exposed to temptations, interruptions, and instant gratification. Developing discipline involves making conscious choices to prioritize effortful, meaningful actions over convenience or ease. Each decision to remain focused reinforces mental strength and increases the ability to stay on course despite competing impulses. Planning and preparation enhance disciplined action. Setting clear objectives, defining steps, and organizing the environment support consistency. When tasks are well structured and the path forward is clear, discipline is easier to maintain. Preparation reduces reliance on willpower alone and ensures that energy is spent effectively rather than wasted on indecision or hesitation. Reflection on progress strengthens awareness of strengths and weaknesses. Reviewing daily performance allows identification of habits that support or hinder discipline. Honest assessment encourages adjustments, refinement of routines, and reinforcement of effective practices. Reflection ensures that daily effort is intentional and aligned with desired outcomes, rather than random activity without direction. Building self-discipline is closely tied to managing emotions. Emotional impulses can undermine effort, creating distraction, avoidance, or procrastination. Developing the ability to observe emotions without being controlled by them supports steady action. Emotional regulation ensures that discipline is maintained even under stress, fatigue, or frustration, reinforcing the habit of persistent effort. Rewarding consistent effort enhances motivation. Recognition of small achievements, completion of tasks, or progress toward goals provides reinforcement that encourages continued practice. Positive reinforcement strengthens the habit loop, making disciplined behavior more likely to be repeated naturally. Rewards should reflect genuine progress and contribute to long-term growth rather than providing fleeting gratification that undermines consistency. Gradual escalation of challenge strengthens resilience and capacity for self-discipline, starting with manageable tasks and progressively increasing complexity or difficulty ensures that the mind and body adapt effectively. Incremental challenge builds confidence and reinforces the belief that sustained effort is achievable, supporting further growth in both skill and character. Resisting procrastination is a critical element of disciplined action. Delaying effort often results in accumulation of unfinished tasks, stress, and diminished effectiveness. Discipline involves acting promptly on priorities and maintaining momentum. Each successful choice to act immediately rather than postpone reinforces self-control and develops a reliable habit of productive behavior. Mindset shapes the sustainability of discipline. Viewing effort as an investment rather than a burden encourages engagement and persistence. Understanding that each action contributes to growth and long-term success transforms tasks from obligations into opportunities for development. A constructive mindset reduces resistance and enhances the enjoyment of consistent, effortful practice. Consistency is reinforced through structured routines. Repeating specific actions at the same time or in the same sequence creates automaticity, reducing mental resistance and reliance on fluctuating motivation. Routine embeds discipline into daily life, transforming deliberate effort into habitual behavior that supports continuous improvement without constant conscious effort. Adapting strategies enhances the effectiveness of daily effort. Flexibility in approach allows the individual to respond to obstacles, changing circumstances, or new information while maintaining commitment to core objectives. Adaptation ensures that consistent effort remains productive and aligned with meaningful goals rather than rigid adherence to ineffective methods. Self-discipline is strengthened by developing awareness of consequences. Recognizing the impact of choices on future outcomes reinforces the importance of daily action. Each deliberate effort contributes to cumulative progress, while neglect erodes potential success. Awareness of cause and effect creates accountability to oneself and heightens the motivation to remain consistent. Physical and mental well-being support disciplined effort. Adequate rest, nutrition, exercise, and mental care ensure that energy, focus, and resilience are maintained. A strong body and clear mind enhance the capacity to sustain effort over time, making discipline easier to uphold and reducing vulnerability to fatigue or distraction. Persistence in the face of setbacks is crucial. Mistakes, interruptions, or failures are inevitable, but disciplined individuals continue to act consistently despite obstacles. Viewing setbacks as temporary and learning from them strengthens resilience and prevents derailment. Each instance of persistence reinforces the mental habit of disciplined effort. Long-term vision anchors daily practice. Understanding how consistent effort contributes to meaningful objectives provides motivation and context for actions. Daily effort without connection to purpose is easily abandoned, while alignment with long-term goals ensures that small, repeated actions are meaningful and cumulative. Vision maintains focus, clarity, and determination throughout the process of building self-discipline. Ultimately, self-discipline through daily consistent effort transforms not only outcomes but character. Each deliberate choice to act in alignment with goals strengthens self-control, persistence, and resilience. Over time, the accumulation of repeated, intentional actions produces tangible progress, reinforced habits, and the capacity to navigate challenges effectively. Discipline becomes both a habit and a mindset, enabling achievement, growth, and mastery over one's life. Chapter 16 say commit to growth even when progress feels slow. Growth is not always visible, and progress often feels slower than anticipated, yet the choice to continue moving forward is what separates transformation from stagnation. True commitment to personal development requires perseverance, even when immediate results seem minimal or non-existent. The mind is often impatient, expecting visible evidence of improvement, but real growth is cumulative, subtle, and often imperceptible in the short term. Embracing the process rather than focusing solely on outcomes strengthens resilience and develops character. Every small step, repeated consistently, contributes to long-term advancement, even when it feels like nothing is changing. The first essential principle is patience. Accepting that meaningful progress unfolds gradually allows the individual to remain engaged without frustration. Impatience leads to abandoning efforts prematurely, while patience ensures steady accumulation of skills, knowledge, and personal strength. Each day of deliberate effort, even if small, is a building block toward significant transformation. Recognizing that growth is a marathon, not a sprint, provides perspective and reinforces commitment despite slow advancement. Focusing on effort rather than immediate results is critical. When the mind prioritizes action and dedication over instant success, consistency becomes the primary goal. Daily application of effort compounds over time, producing measurable improvement that was invisible at the outset. The emphasis shifts from outcome-based validation to process-based growth, reinforcing intrinsic motivation and sustaining perseverance through challenging periods. Tracking progress, no matter how minor, cultivates awareness and reinforces commitment. Even subtle shifts in skills, mindset, or understanding represent evidence of growth. Documenting these changes allows reflection and helps recognize that effort is producing results over time. Celebrating small milestones strengthens determination and provides encouragement to continue when progress feels imperceptible. Embracing discomfort is a necessary component of growth. Personal development requires stepping beyond comfort zones, which often leads to periods of uncertainty or struggle. Commitment to growth involves moving through these challenges consistently, understanding that resistance and difficulty indicate meaningful learning and adaptation. Each encounter with discomfort builds resilience and confidence, demonstrating that persistent effort through adversity is more valuable than immediate ease. Maintaining clarity of purpose sustains effort during slow periods. Knowing why growth is essential creates a framework for continued action, even when results are delayed. Purpose anchors commitment and provides a reason to persevere despite frustration or external pressure. Clear objectives guide daily decisions, ensuring that each effort aligns with long-term vision rather than being consumed by temporary setbacks or distractions. Mindset plays a pivotal role in sustaining growth. Viewing slow progress as natural and inevitable rather than as failure cultivates resilience. Reframing delays as opportunities to strengthen skills, understanding, and endurance transforms perspective and maintains motivation. A constructive mindset allows the individual to focus on learning and adaptation rather than becoming discouraged by perceived lack of results. Consistency underpins all sustained growth. Regular, repeated action, even at minimal intensity, compounds into significant transformation over time. Sporadic bursts of effort are insufficient to produce lasting change, whereas steady application creates structure, reinforces habits, and strengthens self-discipline. Commitment to daily practice, regardless of perceived immediate impact, guarantees forward momentum. Reflection enhances growth during periods of slow progress. Evaluating actions, responses, and strategies provides insight into what is effective and what requires adjustment. Reflection ensures that effort is purposeful rather than aimless, maximizing the impact of each step. Learning from challenges, errors, and minor successes strengthens resilience and accelerates development, even when outward progress seems stagnant. Adaptability is essential when progress stalls. Adjusting methods, approaches, or strategies ensures that continued effort remains productive. Stubbornly repeating ineffective actions leads to frustration, whereas flexibility allows the individual to align practice with results while maintaining commitment to growth. Each adjustment reinforces understanding of personal strengths, weaknesses, and optimal paths to advancement. Resisting comparison strengthens commitment to personal progress. Observing others' achievements can be motivating, but often fosters impatience or doubt when growth feels slow. Maintaining focus on one's journey ensures that effort is directed toward meaningful goals rather than being distracted by external benchmarks. Comparison undermines intrinsic motivation. while concentration on personal advancement sustains engagement and long-term perseverance. Self-discipline reinforces persistence through slow progress. Daily effort requires choosing action over comfort, focus over distraction, and purpose over immediate gratification. Each choice to remain consistent despite fatigue, frustration, or uncertainty strengthens mental endurance and fortifies the habit of disciplined growth. Repeated application of effort conditions the mind to act with intention regardless of external validation or rapid results. Seeking knowledge and feedback supports steady growth. Learning from mentors, resources, and experiences enhances skill acquisition and understanding, even when visible outcomes are delayed. Feedback provides insight into areas of improvement and confirms progress that might not be immediately apparent. A commitment to continuous learning ensures that every action contributes to meaningful advancement, reinforcing the value of persistence. Visualization of long-term goals maintains motivation. Imagining the future benefits of consistent effort provides emotional reinforcement for daily practice. This mental rehearsal creates clarity, strengthens purpose, and reminds the mind of the larger picture beyond temporary stagnation. Visualization aligns present actions with future outcomes, sustaining effort even when immediate evidence of growth is lacking. Embracing incremental improvement fosters resilience. Each minor adjustment, skill learned, or insight gained represents tangible advancement, even if subtle. Appreciating incremental change builds confidence and reinforces the understanding that growth is composed of countless small steps, not sudden leaps. Recognizing these small victories provides motivation to continue, ensuring sustained commitment to the development process. Resilience is cultivated through persistence during slow progress. Experiencing periods of minimal visible results is inevitable, yet continued effort demonstrates strength of character. Resilience allows the mind to endure uncertainty, setbacks, and frustration while remaining focused on long-term objectives. The ability to persist through these periods is often the defining factor between eventual success and abandonment. Maintaining balance prevents burnout during prolonged growth. Consistent effort does not require extremes or sacrifice of well-being. Structuring effort with attention to rest, recovery, and mental clarity ensures sustainability. Balanced commitment allows long-term adherence to growth practices, reinforcing the capacity to persist through periods of slow progress without losing energy or focus. Accountability reinforces sustained commitment. Sharing goals, documenting progress, or engaging mentors provides external reinforcement to maintain effort when progress feels slow. Accountability creates responsibility and encourages adherence to daily practice, ensuring that commitment to growth does not waver in the absence of immediate results. Internal motivation strengthens resilience through slow periods. Understanding the intrinsic value of growth and personal development reinforces effort without reliance on external rewards. When the mind prioritizes the benefits of improvement itself, persistence becomes natural and discouragement from delayed results is minimized. Internal motivation ensures that commitment to growth remains steadfast regardless of external circumstances. Ultimately, committing to growth even when progress feels slow is an exercise in perseverance, patience, and trust in the process. Every small, consistent action contributes to cumulative transformation, even if immediate results are not evident. Growth is a journey measured not by speed, but by consistency, resilience, and dedication. Choosing to persist despite the appearance of minimal advancement builds character, strengthens mental fortitude, and lays the foundation for meaningful achievement. Each day of effort, repetition, reflection, and adaptation compounds over time, producing profound change that becomes undeniable in retrospect. Chapter 17. Respect your health through better food, sleep, and movement. Respecting your health is the foundation for every aspect of a fulfilling life, and it begins with a conscious commitment to care for your body through proper nutrition, restorative sleep, and regular movement. The body is the instrument through which you experience the world, pursue your goals, and express your potential, and neglecting it undermines every effort toward growth and achievement. Treating your body with respect is not a luxury but a necessity, a daily practice that compounds into vitality, resilience, and long-term well-being. Nutrition is the cornerstone of health and must be approached with mindfulness and intention. Every meal is an opportunity to fuel the body with essential nutrients that support energy, mental clarity, and physical performance. Choosing whole, unprocessed foods provides the building blocks for optimal function, while minimizing sugar, excessive fats, and artificial additives reduces strain on the body and enhances overall health. Developing the habit of planning meals and understanding nutritional needs strengthens the connection between daily choices and long-term vitality. Eating consciously involves paying attention to hunger cues, avoiding mindless snacking, and ensuring balance between protein, healthy fats, complex carbohydrates, and micronutrients. Hydration is equally critical, as water regulates countless physiological processes, supports digestion, and maintains cognitive function. Each intentional food and drink choice reinforces discipline, respect, and care for the body. Restorative sleep is the next essential pillar of health, yet it is often undervalued in modern life. Quality sleep allows the body to repair tissues, consolidate memory, regulate hormones, and restore energy for the following day. Consistent sleep routines, creating a calm environment, and prioritizing sufficient hours each night enhance both physical and mental performance. Avoiding late-night distractions, electronics, and stimulants allows the body to enter deep restorative cycles, which directly impact mood, focus, and immune function. Viewing sleep as an investment in long-term productivity and resilience transforms it from a passive activity into a strategic tool for growth. Understanding that insufficient sleep compromises decision-making, emotional regulation, and even physical health underscores the importance of respecting this daily necessity. Movement and physical activity are vital components of respecting your health, as the body is designed to be active, not sedentary. Regular exercise strengthens muscles, bones, and cardiovascular health, while also enhancing mood, reducing stress, and improving cognitive function. Incorporating a mix of strength training, flexibility exercises, and cardiovascular activity ensures comprehensive benefits. Even small, consistent movements such as walking, stretching, or using stairs contribute to overall fitness and reinforce the habit of daily care. Physical activity should be approached as a form of respect and celebration of what the body can do, rather than as punishment or obligation. Engaging in movement consistently strengthens resilience, energy levels, and the ability to perform daily tasks efficiently, creating a foundation for long-term health. Mental well-being is deeply intertwined with physical health, and maintaining a balanced lifestyle strengthens both simultaneously. Stress management practices such as meditation, breathing exercises, or mindful reflection reduce the negative impact of stress on the body and mind. Chronic stress compromises immunity, disrupts sleep, and contributes to unhealthy habits, while deliberate practices that promote calm and clarity support overall vitality. Recognizing the connection between emotional and physical health encourages a holistic approach to self-care, ensuring that the body and mind are aligned in their capacity for growth and resilience. Consistency in daily practices is essential to respecting health. One meal or one workout alone does not produce lasting change, but repeated, intentional actions accumulate into meaningful transformation. Small habits such as choosing water over soda, stretching in the morning, or maintaining a sleep schedule compound over time to create sustainable improvements in well-being. Viewing each day as an opportunity to reinforce these habits ensures that respect for health becomes a consistent and non-negotiable priority. Awareness and education about health enhance the ability to make informed choices. Understanding the effects of nutrition, sleep patterns, and exercise on energy levels, cognitive performance, and longevity empowers individuals to act intentionally. Learning how the body responds to different types of food, rest, and movement fosters responsibility and encourages deliberate daily actions. Awareness creates a feedback loop, where observation informs adjustment, and adjustments lead to improved outcomes. Avoiding harmful habits is an act of respect for the body. Limiting consumption of alcohol, tobacco, and processed substances prevents unnecessary strain and promotes long-term vitality. Choosing habits that support rather than diminish health strengthens the foundation upon which all other personal development efforts rest. Each deliberate choice to prioritize well-being over convenience or pleasure reinforces self-discipline and reinforces the value of investing in the body's capacity to perform optimally. Structuring the environment to support healthy choices reinforces daily success. Keeping nutritious food accessible, creating spaces conducive to movement, and designing a sleep-friendly bedroom minimizes friction in following routines. Removing obstacles that interfere with healthy habits makes consistent care more attainable and less reliant on willpower alone. The environment becomes a silent ally, supporting the consistent practice of respect for health. Tracking progress and celebrating milestones sustains motivation. Observing improvements in energy, strength, endurance, and mental clarity reinforces the connection between consistent effort and tangible outcomes. Recognizing these changes validates the investment in health and provides encouragement to maintain daily practices. Celebration of progress strengthens commitment and highlights the cumulative power of repeated intentional actions over time. Preventing burnout requires balancing effort with recovery. Overtraining, excessive restriction in diet, or neglecting rest can undermine health goals and create frustration. Integrating periods of rest, flexibility in routines, and enjoyment in movement ensures sustainability. Respect for health involves listening to the body, adjusting practices as needed, and approaching wellness as a long-term pursuit rather than a short-term challenge. Accountability strengthens adherence to health commitments. Sharing goals with a trusted friend, joining a community focused on well-being, or tracking progress publicly reinforces consistency. Accountability reduces the likelihood of skipping practices, encourages persistence, and enhances motivation. Knowing that actions are observed and reinforced externally supports the habit of daily care, making respect for health a collective as well as personal endeavor. Integrating health practices into daily life rather than treating them as separate tasks ensures sustainability. Choosing nutritious meals, incorporating movement naturally into routines, and maintaining regular sleep schedules become part of the rhythm of life rather than obligations. Seamless integration reduces friction, enhances consistency, and strengthens the likelihood that respect for health becomes an enduring lifestyle rather than a temporary effort. Mindset is central to sustaining health-focused habits. Viewing nutrition, sleep, and movement as acts of respect and empowerment rather than restriction or punishment transforms the experience. This perspective encourages consistent practice, increases satisfaction, and reinforces long-term adherence. A positive mindset creates intrinsic motivation that sustains effort even during challenges or when immediate results are not visible. Ultimately, respecting health through better food, sleep, and movement creates a foundation for all other areas of life. The body and mind operate more efficiently, energy levels rise, resilience strengthens, and focus improves. Daily choices accumulate into a lifestyle of vitality, providing the stability and capacity needed to pursue personal goals, overcome challenges, and maintain balance. Respecting health is an investment in self that compounds over time, creating freedom, capability, and strength to live fully and achieve consistently. Each intentional action toward nourishing the body, restoring energy, and moving consistently reinforces discipline, strengthens resilience, and empowers growth. The commitment to health is continuous, requiring attention, adaptation, and care, yet the rewards permeate every aspect of life, creating the foundation for sustainable transformation, energy, and personal mastery. Chapter 18. Choose patience while building the life you deserve. Patience is a skill often overlooked in a world that demands instant results, yet it is one of the most powerful tools for building a meaningful and lasting life. Choosing patience does not mean inaction or complacency. It means cultivating the ability to remain steady and focused while progress unfolds gradually. Life's most valuable achievements are rarely immediate, and understanding this principle allows you to approach your goals with calm determination rather than frustration or haste. Every meaningful pursuit requires time, effort, and repeated action, and patience ensures that your energy is directed consistently toward long-term growth rather than short-term gratification. The first step in embracing patience is to recognize the natural rhythm of progress. Growth and transformation are processes that cannot be rushed, and forcing outcomes often leads to mistakes, burnout, or missed opportunities. Accepting that each stage of life and personal development has its pace allows you to invest fully in your efforts without undue pressure. Patience gives space for skills to mature, relationships to strengthen, and opportunities to align naturally with your intentions. Understanding this rhythm encourages a steady approach where persistence becomes more effective than frantic attempts to accelerate results. Patience is strengthened through perspective. Focusing on the bigger picture helps to avoid being overwhelmed by temporary delays or setbacks. Every small action contributes to a larger outcome, and maintaining awareness of this cumulative effect reduces frustration. Reflecting on past challenges that eventually led to growth reinforces trust in the process and reminds you that time is an ally rather than an obstacle. This perspective transforms waiting from a passive experience into an active strategy of resilience and foresight. Cultivating patience also requires self-discipline. It is easy to feel discouraged or distracted when immediate outcomes are not visible, but disciplined effort ensures that every day contributes toward the life you desire. Daily routines, consistent practices, and intentional actions accumulate over time, even if the results are not instantly apparent. Discipline allows patience to be productive rather than passive, ensuring that waiting is paired with preparation, learning, and refinement of skills. Each deliberate step taken with patience compounds into meaningful progress. Emotional regulation is a critical aspect of choosing patience. Impulsivity, frustration, and anxiety often arise when expectations clash with reality, and these emotions can derail focus and consistency. Practicing patience involves observing these emotions without letting them dictate decisions. Techniques such as mindful breathing, reflection, and reframing challenges provide stability, allowing the mind to remain calm and deliberate. Emotional resilience created through patience ensures that setbacks are treated as opportunities for learning rather than triggers for hasty action. Clarity of purpose enhances the ability to be patient. When the life you are building has a clearly defined vision, patience becomes easier to sustain. Understanding the long-term benefits of consistent effort and recognizing the value of each small contribution reinforces commitment. Purpose aligns your daily actions with ultimate objectives, providing a framework that justifies waiting and encourages persistence. With clarity, patience becomes an active choice rather than a forced compromise, motivating consistent effort despite delays or obstacles. Patience also strengthens decision-making. Impulsive actions often lead to errors that require additional time and effort to correct. By choosing to pause, reflect, and consider options, you make decisions that are more informed and aligned with your long-term goals. This measured approach reduces unnecessary setbacks and ensures that each step taken contributes effectively to the life you are building. Patience in decision-making prevents waste of time, energy, and resources, turning waiting into a strategic advantage. Adopting a growth-oriented mindset complements patience, viewing challenges and slow progress as opportunities to develop skills, resilience, and understanding transforms delays into productive periods. Each moment of waiting becomes a chance to refine abilities, gather knowledge, and strengthen character. This perspective removes frustration and impatience, replacing them with focus and constructive action. Patience is most powerful when paired with an active approach to personal development, ensuring that no time is wasted even when progress seems slow. Practical strategies support the cultivation of patience, setting realistic goals, breaking tasks into manageable steps, and tracking incremental progress reduce anxiety and maintain motivation. Celebrating small victories along the way reinforces the understanding that growth is gradual and cumulative. Scheduling consistent effort while allowing flexibility for unforeseen challenges creates a sustainable rhythm where patience can thrive. By structuring your environment and habits to encourage steady progress, patience becomes an integrated part of daily practice rather than an abstract ideal. Patience fosters stronger relationships, In interactions with others, impatience often leads to conflict, miscommunication, or missed opportunities for collaboration. By practicing patience, you create space for understanding, empathy, and thoughtful communication. Building a life of value is rarely a solitary effort, and cultivating patience in relationships ensures that connections grow authentically and support mutual success. This approach allows trust to develop, collaboration to flourish, and shared achievements to become possible. Reflection enhances the benefits of patience. Regularly assessing progress, reviewing actions, and understanding how small steps contribute to long-term objectives reinforces the value of waiting. Reflection also highlights areas where effort is effective and areas requiring adjustment, ensuring that patience is paired with intentional improvement. By integrating reflection into daily practice, waiting becomes a purposeful component of growth rather than idle time. Patience reduces stress and improves mental clarity. When you accept that meaningful change requires time, you relieve the pressure of unrealistic expectations. The mind becomes calmer, decision-making improves, and focus sharpens. This mental state enhances productivity, creativity, and problem-solving, demonstrating that patience is not passive, but a proactive contributor to effective action. A composed mind navigates obstacles with greater ease, maintaining momentum toward long-term objectives even under challenging circumstances. Consistency and patience work together to produce lasting results. Daily effort, repeated over time, accumulates into tangible achievements. Each action taken with patience compounds, creating progress that may not be immediately visible but is undeniable in the long term. Recognizing that slow, deliberate work produces sustainable outcomes encourages continued commitment and reinforces trust in the process. Patience ensures that consistency is maintained without discouragement, and consistency ensures that patience is purposeful rather than passive. Mindset shifts are crucial for embracing patience. Viewing delays, setbacks, and slow progress as integral to the process transforms frustration into understanding. Patience becomes an expression of wisdom, acknowledging that meaningful outcomes require time, preparation, and repeated effort. This mindset reduces stress, strengthens resilience, and promotes a proactive approach to challenges. Each moment of patience reinforces mental fortitude and nurtures a long-term perspective essential for sustainable growth. Accountability strengthens patience. Sharing goals, seeking guidance, or tracking progress publicly provides external reinforcement that encourages persistence. Accountability ensures that patience is paired with action, preventing stagnation during periods of slow progress. Knowing that others recognize your commitment provides motivation to remain consistent, reinforcing the practice of patient, deliberate growth. Finally, choosing patience while building the life you deserve cultivates resilience, wisdom, and clarity. Each deliberate action, thoughtful decision, and daily effort accumulates into meaningful transformation over time. Patience allows you to navigate setbacks, embrace challenges, and maintain focus on long-term objectives without succumbing to frustration or haste. By committing to patience, you create a sustainable approach to growth that prioritizes consistent action, disciplined effort, and thoughtful reflection. The life you are building is the result of steady, patient work, and embracing this principle ensures that every choice contributes effectively to the fulfillment of your deepest goals. Patience is not passive waiting, but an active, disciplined, and conscious practice. Each day becomes an opportunity to reinforce steady progress, cultivate understanding, and strengthen resilience. By consistently choosing patience, you align effort with intention, focus with purpose, and action with long-term outcomes. This approach transforms the journey of building your life into a sustainable, empowered, and fulfilling process. The life you deserve is created not through haste, but through deliberate, patient, and persistent effort, ensuring that every step contributes meaningfully to enduring success and personal fulfillment. Chapter 99Z: Help others grow while improving your own character. Helping others grow while improving your own character is one of the most profound ways to create lasting impact and personal fulfillment. True growth is not measured only by achievements or personal gains, but by the positive influence you have on the lives of those around you. Every interaction offers an opportunity to contribute to someone else's development while simultaneously strengthening qualities such as empathy, patience, and integrity within yourself. By choosing to elevate others, you naturally refine your character because teaching, guiding, and supporting demand self-awareness, discipline, and the practice of values that define strong personal character. The first step is cultivating a mindset focused on contribution rather than competition. When the goal is to uplift others, every action is guided by intention and care rather than ego or recognition. This approach allows you to identify ways in which your skills, experience, and wisdom can be shared meaningfully. It also encourages humility, as growth requires acknowledging that you do not have all the answers and can learn alongside those you seek to help. Engaging with others in this spirit transforms each interaction into a mutually beneficial opportunity for learning and reflection. Empathy plays a critical role in helping others while improving your own character. Understanding the perspectives, struggles, and aspirations of others develops emotional intelligence, patience, and compassion. Listening attentively without judgment allows people to feel supported and understood, which fosters trust and openness. This practice strengthens your own emotional resilience and ability to navigate relationships thoughtfully. By seeing the world through another person's eyes, you gain insight into your own habits, assumptions, and values, creating space for personal refinement. Mentoring or coaching others requires clear communication and the ability to articulate ideas effectively. Teaching someone a skill, explaining a concept, or providing guidance encourages you to clarify your own thinking, which deepens knowledge and understanding. It also reinforces patience, as growth is rarely linear and requires repetition, feedback, and encouragement. Supporting others in their journey develops leadership qualities, self-discipline, and humility, all of which strengthen character in ways personal achievements alone cannot. Integrity is essential when guiding others. Demonstrating honesty, reliability, and consistency sets a standard for others to follow while reinforcing your own principles. Actions align with words, creating credibility and trust. Upholding ethical standards even when no one is watching cultivates self-respect and strengthens moral fortitude. Modeling integrity teaches others the importance of character in achieving meaningful goals, and in practicing it daily, you solidify your own foundation for long-term success and fulfillment. Encouragement and constructive feedback are powerful tools in helping others grow. Recognizing efforts, celebrating progress, and offering actionable guidance motivates and empowers people to persist and improve. Providing feedback also requires thoughtfulness, clarity, and self-control, refining your ability to communicate effectively and considerately. The act of supporting someone else's development mirrors the personal growth process, reinforcing resilience, focus, and reflective thinking. Through this process, your ability to inspire, lead, and act thoughtfully strengthens your own character. Collaboration enhances personal growth while supporting others. Working together toward shared goals creates opportunities to observe different approaches, problem-solving strategies, and ways of thinking. Engaging in teamwork develops adaptability, patience, and humility while reinforcing accountability and commitment. When you assist colleagues or peers in overcoming challenges, you strengthen your leadership abilities and broaden your understanding of human dynamics, all of which contribute to both character and competence. Generosity of time and knowledge is a form of investment in both others and yourself. Sharing experiences, offering guidance, or mentoring requires discipline, focus, and intentionality. The act of giving cultivates gratitude, humility, and a sense of purpose, which positively shapes your mindset and character. Investing in others also reinforces your own learning, as explaining, reflecting, and responding to questions often uncovers new insights and deepens understanding. By prioritizing contribution over self-interest, you create a feedback loop of growth, benefit, and continuous self-improvement. Challenges in helping others provide opportunities for personal development. Difficult conversations, conflicting perspectives, and resistance from others test patience, emotional control, and problem-solving skills. Responding with calm, empathy, and strategy strengthens resilience and character, and each challenge overcome enhances your ability to lead, guide, and influence constructively. Difficulties are not obstacles but training grounds for self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and strategic thinking, all essential traits for a strong character. Reflection enhances both personal growth and the ability to support others. Regularly assessing your own behaviors, decisions, and influence ensures that guidance is thoughtful, consistent, and aligned with core values. Reflecting on successes and mistakes fosters self-awareness, humility, and continuous refinement of character. Understanding your own limitations and biases allows you to offer more effective support while modeling the importance of learning and adaptability to those you guide. Balance between helping others and personal growth is critical. Supporting others should not come at the expense of your own development, energy, or well-being. Setting boundaries ensures that you maintain focus, effectiveness, and consistency in your own pursuits while continuing to provide meaningful guidance. Maintaining this balance fosters sustainability in your contributions and reinforces discipline, prioritization, and self-respect. Consistency in effort is vital. Regularly offering support, guidance, and encouragement builds trust, strengthens relationships, and demonstrates reliability. Daily commitment to improving yourself while helping others ensures that character traits such as responsibility, empathy, and resilience are continuously exercised. Each consistent action contributes to long-term influence and personal transformation, reinforcing habits that define strong character. Observation and learning from those you help also drive personal growth. Engaging with different perspectives, challenges, and problem-solving approaches expands your own understanding and enhances adaptability. Witnessing growth in others provides motivation and insight, while also reminding you of the universal nature of learning and improvement. Each interaction reinforces the idea that growth is both personal and collective, and that by supporting others, you are simultaneously refining your own character. Gratitude for the opportunity to help others strengthens perspective and humility. Recognizing that your knowledge, experience, and influence can make a difference nurtures appreciation for your own abilities and responsibilities. Gratitude fosters patience, empathy, and resilience, reinforcing the mindset necessary for effective guidance and personal growth. Each day of contribution becomes a practice in humility, self-discipline, and purposeful action. The act of modeling excellence is an essential part of helping others while improving your own character. Demonstrating dedication, discipline, and integrity inspires others to follow suit while reinforcing these traits within yourself. Consistently embodying values such as perseverance, honesty, and diligence strengthens self-identity and internalizes principles that guide personal decisions. Actions carry more weight than words, and living by example ensures that guidance is authentic and effective. Building a supportive network enhances growth for both you and those around you. Surrounding yourself with individuals committed to development, learning, and constructive action creates an environment conducive to shared success. Collaboration, mentorship, and mutual encouragement amplify the impact of individual efforts and reinforce accountability, discipline, and character development. A strong network becomes both a resource for support and a platform for continued personal improvement. Celebrating the growth of others reinforces the practice of humility, empathy, and reflection. Recognizing achievements without comparison fosters positive relationships and reduces ego-driven behaviors. Supporting others in their milestones while remaining grounded in your own progress strengthens character and encourages continuous personal improvement. Shared success becomes a reflection of collective effort and mutual reinforcement of values and discipline. Finally, helping others grow while improving your own character is a continuous cycle. Each interaction, effort, and act of guidance contributes to both external influence and internal refinement. The practice of lifting others strengthens patience, empathy, discipline, and integrity while offering opportunities for reflection, learning, and growth. By committing to this principle, you create a life of meaningful impact, purpose, and personal development, ensuring that your contributions and character evolve in tandem. The journey of supporting others becomes a mirror in which your own character is shaped, tested, and strengthened daily, resulting in lasting fulfillment, resilience, and leadership that extends beyond personal achievement. Every choice to assist, guide, or mentor someone else is an opportunity to refine your values, deepen understanding, and strengthen self-mastery. Through helping others grow, you cultivate wisdom, discipline, and insight, which serve as the foundation for personal excellence. The act of contributing to others while nurturing your own character becomes a practice of balance, intentionality, and consistent effort, producing a life of purpose, influence, and sustained personal growth. Chapter 20. Continue learning daily to become a wiser person. Continuing to learn daily is one of the most powerful ways to transform your life and deepen your wisdom. Each day offers countless opportunities to gain insight, expand understanding, and develop new skills that shape the person you are becoming. Learning is not simply about accumulating facts or information. It is about refining the mind, enhancing judgment, and cultivating the ability to respond to life with clarity, resilience, and discernment. When you commit to learning every day, you commit to growth, to improving your perspective, and to shaping a life that is purposeful, thoughtful, and informed. The process begins with cultivating curiosity and an open mind. Approach every situation with the intent to observe, understand, and absorb lessons, whether from experiences, conversations, or reading. Curiosity drives exploration, and exploration exposes you to ideas and perspectives that expand the mind. By seeking to understand rather than judge, you develop a habit of inquiry that strengthens critical thinking and decision-making. This mindset transforms ordinary experiences into opportunities for learning and allows you to gain wisdom from every encounter. Discipline is key to making learning a daily habit. Set aside dedicated time each day for reading, reflection, or skill development. Small, consistent efforts compound over time, producing greater knowledge and deeper insight than sporadic bursts of study. Structuring your day to include intentional learning ensures that growth becomes a natural part of life rather than an occasional activity. This consistency strengthens focus, patience, and self-discipline, reinforcing the traits necessary for both personal and professional development. Reflection enhances the value of daily learning. After acquiring knowledge or experiencing something new, take time to process what you have learned. Ask yourself how it applies to your life, how it can improve your choices, and how it affects your understanding of the world. Reflection turns information into wisdom, allowing lessons to integrate into daily thinking and behavior. By regularly reflecting on experiences and knowledge, you internalize insights and sharpen judgment, which strengthens your ability to make better decisions in the future. Observation is another essential aspect of learning. Pay attention to the people around you, the way situations unfold, and the patterns that repeat over time. Observing both successes and failures provides practical lessons that cannot be found in books alone. Watch how others handle challenges, how they solve problems, and how they interact with their environment. These observations offer real-world applications for improving your own life and help develop discernment and situational awareness. Engaging with diverse sources of knowledge broadens perspective. Reading widely, listening to different voices, and exploring new fields encourages adaptability and creativity. Exposure to contrasting ideas challenges assumptions and stimulates critical thinking. By actively seeking knowledge outside of your comfort zone, you develop a more nuanced understanding of the world and become capable of approaching problems from multiple angles. This diversity of thought is essential for wisdom, as it allows decisions to be informed, balanced, and fair. Learning also requires humility. Recognize that no matter how much you know, there is always more to discover. Accepting that your knowledge is incomplete fosters openness and reduces arrogance, which are essential qualities for continued growth. Humility allows you to ask questions, seek guidance, and learn from mistakes. By embracing a learner's mindset, you remain flexible and receptive, constantly adapting and improving your understanding of life and yourself. Practical application is the bridge between learning and wisdom. Knowledge without action remains theoretical, while applying what you learn strengthens comprehension and reinforces growth. Take what you discover each day and implement it in small but meaningful ways. Experiment with new habits, approaches, or strategies and observe their impact. Active application ensures that learning is not passive but transformative, shaping behavior, character, and long-term success. Curiosity and questioning are fundamental to daily learning. Challenge assumptions, explore alternatives, and seek deeper understanding. Ask why things happen, how processes work, and what can be done differently. Questioning stimulates critical thinking and opens the mind to solutions and ideas that may not be immediately apparent. Developing the habit of thoughtful inquiry strengthens problem-solving skills and cultivates the wisdom necessary to navigate complex situations effectively. Accountability reinforces growth in learning. Track your progress, set measurable goals, and evaluate your improvement regularly. Accountability ensures that learning remains purposeful and consistent rather than superficial or sporadic. By holding yourself responsible for continued growth, you cultivate self-discipline, focus, and motivation, all of which are essential for developing a wiser perspective over time. Engaging with mentors, teachers, and knowledgeable peers accelerates learning. Surrounding yourself with individuals who challenge, inspire, and provide guidance introduces perspectives and insights that might otherwise be missed. Mentors offer experience-based knowledge, practical advice, and feedback that strengthens understanding. Learning in collaboration with others creates opportunities for dialogue, reflection, and refinement, which enhances wisdom more rapidly than solitary study alone. Adapting lessons from failures and setbacks is a critical part of daily learning. Every mistake contains valuable insight if approached with the right mindset. Analyzing failures objectively reveals patterns, weaknesses, and areas for improvement. Learning to extract wisdom from setbacks develops resilience, patience, and problem-solving skills. This practice ensures that challenges contribute to growth rather than discouragement, turning obstacles into stepping stones toward personal mastery. Reading widely and consistently sharpens mental agility and broadens knowledge. Books, articles, and research in diverse fields expose you to ideas, histories, strategies, and philosophies that enrich thinking. Reading introduces concepts that challenge preconceived notions and encourages innovative solutions. Engaging with literature critically ensures that learning is active rather than passive, promoting deeper understanding and reflection. Developing the habit of reflection journals or notes helps consolidate learning. Writing down insights, observations, and ideas reinforces memory and allows you to review progress over time. Journaling provides clarity, deepens understanding, and encourages self-examination. Recording lessons daily creates a tangible track of growth and reinforces the mindset necessary for continuous improvement and wisdom accumulation. Learning is enhanced when it becomes a lifestyle rather than a task. Incorporating learning into everyday activities through conversations, observations, media, or reflection ensures that growth is constant and integrated into life naturally. Making learning habitual strengthens curiosity, awareness, and cognitive flexibility, resulting in a mind that is sharper, more adaptable, and consistently engaged with improvement. The pursuit of wisdom through daily learning also requires patience. Understanding, mastery, and insight are gradual processes that develop over time. Accept that progress may be slow and incremental, but that every day contributes to long-term improvement. Patience in learning reinforces resilience, persistence, and the capacity to navigate life thoughtfully and deliberately. Teaching what you learn to others strengthens your own understanding and solidifies knowledge. Sharing insights, explaining concepts, or mentoring reinforces mental clarity and enhances communication skills. The act of teaching demands articulation, reflection, and mastery of material, which accelerates internalization of wisdom. Contributing to the growth of others simultaneously deepens personal knowledge and reinforces the value of continuous learning. Curiosity, consistency, reflection, observation, application, accountability, humility, and teaching combine to create a robust system of daily learning that produces wisdom over time. Each element reinforces the other, creating a feedback loop where knowledge, understanding, and insight continuously develop. Engaging with life through this lens ensures that growth is intentional, deliberate, and impactful. Embracing learning daily transforms perspective, decision-making, and emotional intelligence. A wiser person approaches challenges with clarity, considers multiple perspectives, and responds thoughtfully rather than reactively. Decisions become more informed, interactions more meaningful, and personal growth more profound. Daily learning strengthens resilience, deepens understanding of human nature, and enhances the ability to navigate complexity in every aspect of life. Life itself becomes a classroom when approached with intentional learning. Every experience, success, failure, interaction, and observation offers lessons waiting to be understood. By committing to extracting insights from daily life, you convert ordinary moments into opportunities for growth and wisdom. This approach cultivates a mind that is agile, reflective, and ever improving, capable of making better choices, influencing others positively, and creating a life marked by knowledge, insight, and purpose. Ultimately, continuing to learn daily is not simply about acquiring information, but about evolving into a more thoughtful, wise, and capable version of yourself. The practice of consistent learning strengthens character, decision-making, emotional intelligence, and personal effectiveness. By committing to this principle, each day becomes a step toward mastery of self and understanding of the world. Continuous learning shapes habits, sharpens judgment, and cultivates the perspective necessary to live a life of insight, fulfillment, and meaningful achievement. Every day offers the choice to grow, to question, to reflect, and to absorb wisdom. Each decision to learn reinforces the mind, strengthens character, and prepares you to navigate life with confidence and clarity. Through daily learning, you evolve into a person whose insight is deep, perspective balanced, and actions thoughtful. This commitment produces a life of purpose, resilience, and ever-expanding wisdom, creating not only personal fulfillment, but the ability to contribute meaningfully to the world around you.